that'll do it for this edition of Forbes Sports Money. For Michael Ozanian, I'm Bob Lorenz. We will see you next time. Take care.
Worn Untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Friday, April 26, 2024. Michael, Don, and Peter with you. A lot of stuff to talk about, but we're going to start with the New York Knicks. And really, you can call in, you could argue, you can say whatever you like, but what Joel Embiid did to Mitchell Robinson was a flagrant 2. And if it was most any other player in the NBA, it would have been a flagrant 2, and they would have been thrown out of the game. But there was no way they were ever going to make it a flagrant 2. They made it a flagrant 1, because if they made it a flagrant 2, the series is over. It was a must-win for the Sixers. They can't go down 3-0 and expect to come back. So at least with Embiid, you have a game that's going to be watched and consumed. There was no way they were throwing him out. But Don, Peter, if Mitchell Robinson did that to Embiid, he would have been thrown out immediately. If it was a regular season game, Embiid would have been thrown out immediately. It was a clear, flagrant 2. And I'm not saying that anybody's in the bag for anybody, but that's one of the big stars in the NBA, the reigning MVP. They were not throwing him out.
No, they're not. Now, should they? I mean, should everything be equal? Game 1 of an NBA regular season should be the same as a playoff game, that the 15th guy off the bench should be the same as a superstar? I guess in a perfect world, Michael. But you tell me the sport where that would have happened. Somebody that can actually decide a series would get thrown out.
I don't know, but I will tell you this. It was a really dirty play.
Of course,
I mean, the guy was in the air. He grabbed his legs. He could have really hurt him, and then he ends up getting hurt anyway. Yeah. And the Sixers came out very aggressive previously, and he wasn't even called for a flagrant on this. He need Isaiah Hartenstein and the Jewels, no call. Kyle Lowry smacked DiVincenzo in the face. That was a flagrant 1. That should not have been a flagrant 2. But what Embiid did was a flagrant 2. And if you're a Sixer fan and you don't agree with that, then you're looking at the world through Sixer glasses.
I really like Joel Embiid. He seems like an excellent dude off the court. Like, whenever you hear him talk, he's entertaining. He's a phenomenal player. I mean, we can't bury the fact that he dropped a 50 spot after he said his team would win the series, right? He's a beast. He's the dirtiest player in the NBA. I mean, that yesterday, I'm sorry, we can talk about Draymond Green till we want. Yesterday, that leg grab was as dirty and dangerous a play as I remember seeing in this league. And whether they gave him the flagrant 2 or not, and they're never going to do this, but if they were doing the right thing, guys, they would review it after the game. He wouldn't be playing in Game 4. It was football. That was not basketball. And I'm sorry, I expected makeup calls, but guys, I didn't expect something like that to be okay.
I did expect that it was going to be lopsided the way it was. I mean, the Knicks had 19 free throws. Joel Embiid had 21.
Yeah, you knew that.
So you knew they were going to even it out, especially with the 2-minute report and things like that. And they knew that they lost a game for them. So it was going to be slanted in their favor. But still, that thing does just stand out and say, wow, how did he get away with that? How did he get away with that?
Because he's a star.
Right.
You said, Michael, it comes down to the bottom line. If the series is over, they don't want it to be over. And listen, we'll get calls from Knicks fans that the league hates the Knicks. In this particular situation, they want every series to go 7. These are 2 big markets. They want to try to get as much television value, as many big games as they can. And they know that if they had kicked Embiid out of that game, then the Sixers are probably getting swept. They lose 3 quality games for TV. They want these things to go long, and so it stinks. That's not the way it's supposed to be. All these leagues talk about that every game is the same. It's all officiated the same. That's such bull. Because if he was nobody, he gets kicked out of that game and gets suspended. If the series is 3-0 last night, maybe there's a chance that Embiid would get suspended because the series looks like it's over anyway. But in a game in which Philadelphia's got a chance to make it 2-1, with a home game coming up in Game 4, they're thinking, what's the biggest bang for the buck? What's best for the league? And what's best for the league is if Embiid continues to play.
And also, just take away what was clearly a flagrant 2. I want the person to call in that disagrees with that. Even if you're from Philly, I'd like to really pick it apart with you because I don't understand how I mean, it's something where you could severely injure a player and was unnecessary. He's on the ground. He was not defending the play. He was on the ground. He was trying to hurt him. Now, he said it's because of the fact, Jonathan Kuminga in a similar situation fell down and hurt his knee. Oh, okay. So that means you have to hurt Mitchell Robinson. Also, the way the game was officiated, Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein have done a good job. They both had 3 fouls in an eye blink. To the point where Precious Achiuwa had to come in. Now, I don't have a problem with Precious Achiuwa coming in. But for the first 2 games of the series, Tibbs was playing with an 8-man team. All of a sudden, the 9th guy comes in, and I think he's going to have to play again because it looks like Mitchell Robinson re-injured his ankle, the one that was surgically repaired. So, it was not a great day for the Knicks. The best thing was that Jalen Brunson played well. He contested shots, the whole deal. But if we really want to be honest with each other, I know, okay, so negative, those phone calls are going to come. You can make the argument the Sixers should be up 2-1. You can make the argument the Sixers could be up 3-0. Now, I think the Knicks won the first game fair and square. Second one, they didn't. Second one, they didn't. They missed those calls. The Sixers should have won the game. So the Sixers have essentially for 3 games outplayed the Knicks. Knicks now they have to counter on Sunday. Let's see what they do.
Well, would you go as far as to say they outplayed them in Game 1?
No, I think the Knicks outplayed them. I think the Knicks should win Game 1. But, I mean, you could see a couple of things here or there. But then you could also say, well, Brunson, if he has a Brunson game, it wouldn't have been close. But I think he didn't have a Brunson game because the Sixers played him well.
Now, we argued yesterday about, Peter and I aren't swayed by what happened in the first 2 games. I'm not even swayed by what happened last night. Last night was very predictable. First home game for Philadelphia. You knew because of the way that the officiating went in the end of the game, Game 2, that it was going to be a really difficult time, which drives you crazy, too. But we all predicted that. So you know that the officials have make-up calls all the time. Clearly, everyone knew the game was going to be officiated that way based on what happened with the 2-minute report in Game 2. But I still think they can win this series. I still think that they're the better team. Philadelphia was bound to respond. It still took a 50-point effort from Embiid. And, so the game wasn't really that close. But still, it wasn't like they were completely blown out of the building either. I could see the Knicks totally regrouping and still come back to New York on Tuesday with a 3-1 series lead. I'm not going to change my opinion based on what happened last night. I think the only thing that was proven wrong so far through the first 3 games is that the Knicks were going to win this in a walkover. Like anybody that thought, we're going to sweep Philadelphia, this is going to be easy, I think we're proving it's not going to be easy. But I still think the Knicks are in good shape.
Well, Game 4 looms very, very large. Because if the Sixers win Game 4, all of a sudden it's 2-2 and it's a best of 3. And it's a best of 3 and the best player on the court is the guy on the Sixers. So you get nervous about things like that. Now, 2 of those games would be at the Garden. I understand that. But it does become a best of 3 and anything can happen. So I think the Knicks could feel better about life if they won on Sunday. They could breathe a little bit and move on from there. If they lose, then it's a dogfight. It could be 7. Peter could end up being right. It could be a 7-game set.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I feel, I'm not going to lie, I felt the I felt the same thing Michael felt last night about, like, wow, are we lucky that this series is 2-1 in the first place? Because it could very easily be the other way, if not worse. But I don't know. I feel like the energy that I have coming out today is less about the disappointment of their play, in spite of the fact that Jalen Brunson was much better, though the fourth quarter left a lot to be desired, and sort of more from the mindset of, if you're the Knicks right now, don't you feel like you really have your back up against the wall?
Yes.
I mean, you're now 2-1 playing game 4, and I'm sorry, you got to be looking at it as you're up against the axis of evil, which is these dirty-ass Sixers players, horrible referees, the whining Philly fan base. I really hope that this team looks within and can dig deep in game 4, because this will become a really scary series. And beyond that, guys, the New York Knicks cannot be the New York Mets in game 4. And Don, you of all people should know what I'm talking about. They need to make a physical statement in game 4. I'm sorry. You have those extra bodies on the bench that Tibbs never plays. Someone needs to a nice, good, intentional, accidental slap across Embiid's face needs to happen in game 4. You cannot allow, I don't care whether he's an MVP or not. I'm not saying you go for the guy's knees and try to end his season, but guys, you don't hit him with a hard Pistons foul where he can, sort of similar to what happened to DiVincenzo yesterday. You could argue he got completely punched in the face by Lowry.
Yeah.
So someone needs to get racked across the face in the first 5 minutes on Sunday to show them that they're not going to roll over against this team.
But I think if that happens, then that person's going to get thrown out. It better not be a starting Knick player.
No, we have bodies for that, because think about him. Tibbs only likes to play 8 guys.
Right.
You bring in a 9th guy and you lose him.
Yeah, there's somebody on the bench that's got 5 fouls to give.
That's right. Use them. You got to use them. You got to make a statement. You cannot allow them to push you around like that. I'm sorry. He grabbed him intentionally in broad daylight and then dropped 50 on your head. You have to stand up. And, I mean, listen, it can only be so much from the effort of basketball you put in. That, of course, you need. But you need a physical thing, too. I'm sorry. The Sixers play like it's, at times, they play like it's an 80s, 90s brand of basketball. You can't retort with 2024 basketball.
And
you're going to have to play
They
something.
complain every call, especially Embiid. Every single call.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah.
You're sitting here giving people, ball shots and grabbing people's legs, and also complaining. It's a lot.
But we talk about the lack of respect the Knicks get around the nation outside of New York. This is where it rears its ugly head. Forget about how the media feels about them, how Shaq and Barkley feel about them. With the lack of respect is they've got a player who should be getting calls. They've got a player who's a superstar, but I don't know if the league judges it that way. I mean, it's a league full of stars getting breaks. When are the Knicks going to start getting breaks? They're a great team. They're a 2 seed. They've got star players, but because nobody ever looks at their players as true stars, they don't catch breaks like this.
Let's listen to Jay Williams, our very own Jay Williams on Get Up, about the Embiid grab of the legs of Mitchell Robinson.
That's not being physical, though.
You hear
There's one thing about being physical and cracking into somebody when they're not looking for a rebound, right, or giving somebody an elbow or a push-off. To me, it's just a flat-out dirty play. I mean, that's a play that deserves to be ejected. I mean, the thing that Mitchell Robinson is mid-air here, where he yanks that like he's about to jump. Like, that could have torn an ACL. That could have torn, some kind of ligament. That's a very dirty play. And I thought he deserved to be ejected for that. That should have been a flagrant 2.
Now, here's Nick Nurse, the coach of the Sixers, talking about that play.
a flagrant at the beginning. I mean, were you a little worried that it could have been like a flagrant 2 with like where did it ever cross your mind at all? That
I didn't even look at it. Sorry, I didn't see it. So
wow,
yeah,
really,
Nick? It happens in hockey all the time. I understand a coach has to show support to his players, but are you really going to tell me you didn't see it?
Then you're not doing a good job as a coach.
Yeah,
you didn't see a play like that.
Because you know what you should be doing is you should be making sure, hey, Joel, you got away with it, but you clean it up because the next time you might get kicked out of the game, and now we're dead. But is that even going to be the case? Who the heck knows? I mean, so I'm with Peter. You got to hockey it up. And you know what? You throw a Jericho Sims out of here. You got 5 fouls to give, buddy. Go out and get it. You're not going to play anyway. You know, how many minutes you're going to get. There's guys out there, hey, let's be physical. Let's do it. And you get kicked out of the game, so what? You weren't somebody who was going to play anyway. I'm not saying you got to go beat somebody down, but you got to push back. If the league's not going to have your back, you got to take matters into your own hands here. Now, you got to be careful because you don't want to parade to the foul line. But at the same time, I'm with Peter. You've got to be able to show a little backbone here. You can't whine. You can't point fingers. You can't expect the league or the officials to help you out here. Sometimes you got to take matters into your own hands.
They're not going to help you out, and you know for a fact that this Philly team is going to be bitching and moaning the entire game, no matter what you do. Even if you play the Michael, give me a good example of like a nuns basketball team. You get the idea. Yeah, like not the Little Sisters of the Poor, but you get the idea. You could be a perfect team. They're still going to complain the entire game. You got to get after it early because no matter what you do, they're going to cry either way. You might as well make them cry. And you got bodies to do it.
Here's the part of the narrative I don't understand, and I don't co-sign on. The league doesn't want the Knicks to win. Well, in what universe does the league not want a New York team to win? In what universe would they not want the Knicks to be in the NBA Finals? When they're negotiating television contracts, when it would get the biggest ratings of any team coming out of the East.
People confuse bad. It's like everything in this country, Michael. It always has to be a conspiracy that's deeper. People confuse just terrible refereeing with an all-out conspiracy. The league is based in New York. Everything is based. It would be incredible business for the Knicks to win the whole thing. It's just the ref. Guys, this isn't the only series. You've heard what LeBron James is saying. There's been bad refereeing throughout the playoffs so far.
No, it's true. But here's the one thing that I kind of disagree, and I don't believe there's conspiracy theories either, because I'm with Michael. If they got a Laker-Knick championship every year, they'd be thrilled. Two of the biggest television markets in the country. Believe me, they'd love to see that. But I'm just wondering if the officials in the pace of games have any respect for the players the Knicks have.
That might be a good point, Don, because they're not big-time stars.
Yeah. See, it's not that we don't want the Knicks to win. They want the market, but the Knicks are disrespected. They don't have a LeBron James. They don't have an Embiid. They don't have a Jokic. At least in the eyes of these officials in the league, that should be getting calls.
Tibbs has been arguing this.
Should be getting calls.
He's been arguing it the whole time. Brunson does not get the calls of an elite player, and he's an elite player.
But unfortunately, outside of New York, does anybody think of him that way?
Unfortunately, you know what? The officials who watch him play every day should think they should be smarter.
Well, they should. They should. But this is a league, you know, Peter, better than anybody. It's not driven by markets. It's driven by stars. So they don't want the Knicks. They want the Knicks to win. But the way the Knicks are constructed, I don't think they have the stars to make it happen.
Did you see this stat, Peter? Joel Embiid has more flagrant fouls than Draymond Green in 481 fewer games.
Wow.
And we look at Draymond Green, and by the way, he was defending Embiid, so go surprise. We look at Embiid as we look at Draymond as a dirty player. Embiid's a dirty player. He kicked Hartenstein in the jewels, and then he tried to injure Mitchell Robinson. It's awful. It was an awful look.
But what makes it strange, though, is that Draymond's not the player Embiid is. So it's the combination of you're going to get star treatment and take advantage of it. Like if Draymond did that last night, he probably does get a 2, does get kicked out, and does get suspended. We've seen that. It changed the series against Cleveland. But he's not that level.
The leg grab would have absolutely done Draymond in at this point, and the reputation alone. You're right, Don. It's because I just tweeted this, and it's so true. He's the dirtiest player in the game. He just happens to be one of the best players in the game.
So that makes it a deadly combination because he's going to get away with a lot more.
So much emphasis now on Game 4. So important. I mean, I'm not saying it's a must-win for the Knicks. It's pretty damn important.
And also, I got to say let me be hard on the Knicks fans for a second. I know I'm waving the Knicks flags right now, and this will probably get them to throw things at me instead, but it needs to be pointed out.
All right.
Brunson was much better yesterday, obviously. 39 points. What do you have, 12, 13 assists? He was awesome last night. But I have to be real with you. He's the guy. He was not good down the stretch of that game. He had one field goal in the fourth quarter, And Michael, down the stretch, when they cut it to 7, he had critical turnovers when they had a chance.
Yep.
So I love that he gave you 39 points. But remember, he's not getting, this isn't the old Jalen Brunson bar of comparing him to 3 years ago Jalen Brunson. He is a superstar. He is their dude. And last night, as good as he was, the money is made for superstars in the fourth quarter of playoff games, and we need more from him in the fourth quarter of a playoff game.
And, you know, the equation that we've always had for teams that are going to win championships is they have to have 2 legitimate stars, right? Now, I have come around on this. Jalen Brunson is a legitimate star. Who's the second legitimate star on the Knicks? They don't have it. The rest of the team is built on guts and guile and grittiness. How many teams like that win? That's why it makes me laugh when people say, are the Knicks better without Julius Randle? No. Julius Randle would be that second star. No matter what you think of Julius Randle, what level star he is, he's a star. 25 and 10 is missed.
Now, on any given night, there could be somebody that can play like a star.
Right, but it's not a consistent thing.
But getting back to the original point, there isn't anybody that's going to get the benefit of the doubt. There isn't anybody that's going to get the call because they're not looked upon as a star. So everything that's great about the Knicks is what I hate about the NBA, and it's going to end up coming back to bite the Knicks. Because this sport honors its superstars. It honors load management. And all the things that we hate, guys, about the NBA, that's the way to do it. Because now we're starting to see the lack of that star is going to hurt them. You know, the not getting respect is going to hurt them. It drives them. But in the ins and outs of a game like last night, they shouldn't be disrespected like that. They're the better team. They're the higher seed. But does the world look at it that way?
Well, forget about the world. If the guys in the the officials' uniforms don't, that's the biggest problem. And you could say, well, I'm sure there were some teams that gritted their way to championships. And you think about the Bad Boys. Bad Boys had stars, man. There were great players on that team. So tell me another team that with just one star gritted its way to a championship. It doesn't happen. So the Knicks, while they're inspiring and they could beat anybody, in any series. Are they that great that they're going to overcome odds like officials not giving them respect?
See but that's what drives you crazy, right? Because if everything's fair, it should be. It should be enough. It shouldn't be because, well, you're not going to get the calls unless you have extra stars. You're not going to get the respect. That's not the way sports is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a popularity contest.
Yeah, but I think that
you should.
I think that officials see things almost in a nuanced way. I don't think they're purposely doing that. They look at the Knicks and they don't see Jordan. They don't see LeBron. They don't see Steph. They see, okay, overtly to not call things for the Knicks. They just don't look at the Knicks in that way, and that's not right.
But if you're a good basketball official and you've got blinders on, you can't be impressed by the way they play the game. And it's a competitive game. A foul's a foul, right? A flagrant foul's a flagrant foul. You shouldn't be motivated by who's got the ball. And I know it's human nature that Michael Irvin was able to push off. And Wade Boggs always got the benefit of the outside corner. Or Greg Maddux, when he was pitching, got the benefit of the outside corner. In little moments. But going in to a series, you should not be at a disadvantage because you're being disrespected around the league. And it feels like in the NBA, that's by design. Give the stars the break. And in this sport, it's hard to overcome that.
Now, just to tie things up with what I thought should have been a flagrant 2, and I think Don and Peter do as well, don't just blame the officials. Because they said when they spoke to the pool reporter, Secaucus agreed. So somebody from the NBA was in the room and Secaucus said, you can't throw out Embiid.
Can't.
You can't. So the Knicks were victimized by the fact that a crime was committed by a really famous person, and the courts let him get away with it. Because there's no other, any Sixer fan out there within the sound of her voice. I want you to defend that wasn't a flagrant 2.
What I got to understand is they all looked at it. They said everyone was in agreement.
Right, even Secaucus.
Everyone in Secaucus and the referees all thought it was a 1. None of you said that looks like a 2 to me?
No. And you know why?
They know they can't. They can't throw him out.
Because they're gutless pukes.
Because that's what they agreed upon, Peter. We can't kick Embiid out of the game.
Right.
It wasn't a question of whether it was a 2. What keeps him in the game, that's what we're going to vote for. It shouldn't be that way.
Well, it's game time, guys. Brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. The Rangers and Don are in the nation's capital, facing the Capitals in Game 3 with coverage immediately following us on 98.7. So Don's going to do the play-by-play today. We love that. For complete coverage of NFL Draft Day 2, tune to 1050 starting at 6. And 98.7 will join in progress after Rangers coverage. In baseball, Mets welcome the Cardinals to Citi Field at 7:10. Unfortunately for Met fans, that's an Apple TV Plus game. And the Yankees are in Milwaukee taking on the Brewers at 8:10. I'm in Milwaukee. That game will be on Yes. That's Game Time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the brand new Tullamore Dew Honey during tonight's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. Hey, we have not forgotten. We'll break down the NFL draft, and boy, was Don right. Tonka.
Oh, yeah, more Tonka than ever.
Months of Tonka. I mean, they must be raw. There's so much Tonka.
I had very descriptive texts on the thread last night.
Very, very. But you know what? I am going to give out one MVP for last night.
Mel Kiper.
Okay.
Well, he's all. Kuiper doesn't really count, does he?
Okay.
He's a good.
I didn't know.
Kuiper is the draft, for God's sake.
You want to wait, or you don't want to do it now?
No, yeah, I want to wait.
Right.
We'll do it on the other side.
Visit Mercedes-Benz of White Plains and see why they've received.
FanDuel Casino has your chance at the #1 feeling, winning. Winning ranks higher than any other feeling, higher than number 30. Saying, I told you so.
Told you so.
Higher than number 89, the feeling of catching your car keys with one hand. And number 78, thinking it's Friday when it's really Saturday. New players get 200 chances at winning with their first deposit on FanDuel Casino.
If there's one thing we like, it's choices. And your Ford dealer is the place to start. With a full lineup of vehicles and available powertrains. Get your ideal combination of power and capability with gas, hybrid, or all electric. But more important than the power you choose is what you choose to do with it.
Right now, returning lessees can get a Ford Escape for $199 a month for 24 months. Only at your local Ford stores.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
This reminds me of my bike. Look how the brushstrokes follow the line on the gas tank. I had no idea this was a motorcycle exhibit.
At Spectrum, we know that internet is a vital tool to help you fulfill your dreams.
My dream is to become a video game developer.
My dream is to get my online college degree. Unfortunately, federal funding for the Affordable Connectivity Program is ending. That's why Spectrum designed affordable internet and mobile solutions to keep you connected. We are committed to delivering reliable, affordable internet and unlimited mobile to keep you connected to what matters most to you.
In an election year, our social media feeds can fill up with sensational claims and unfamiliar sources. And in the age of artificial intelligence, it's not hard to make a fake video look like the real deal. With so many tools, tactics, and motivations for spreading false content, we need to be on the lookout for bad actors looking to sway our votes. If you see a damaging post, image, or story about a candidate or issue, make sure to verify whether it's real or not before you share it. Falsehoods spread much faster than facts. Be informed, not misled.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
This portion of the Michael K. Show on 98.7 ESPN is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of New Rochelle, proud member of the Pepe Auto Group, the name you've trusted since 1968. Now, I promise, so many people want to talk about the Knicks. We will get to you. Spike, Tim, Ken, Phil, JJ will get to you. Promise. Promise. But let's just do a quick overview on the NFL draft. All the predicted trades, none of them came down. Washington supposedly not being high on Daniels didn't happen.
They were high, apparently high.
Obviously, apparently very high. The Patriots were supposedly shopping the pick, and then they ended up picking Drake May. Here's my question. We kept talking about if you want Drake May, if you're the Giants, right?
Right.
You give the first, you give the second, you give the first next year because that's the guy. Well, if New England really liked Drake May, there wouldn't be any offer that anybody could make that would want them to come off of that. I keep hearing, well, you know what? They were asking for a king's ransom. Well, then they're idiots. Why would you trade away the guy that you think your quarterback is going to be for the next 15 years for king's ransom? It's ridiculous. None of it made sense.
Well, they liked May, and there was no offer that was going to be good enough for them to sway. Now, I think you hear the reports the Giants asked, but I guess they were sold on May. So it all ended up going chalk, and I thought that if they were interested in J.J. McCarthy, the Giants would have been able to take him at 6. Obviously, they were not. So I guess the Giants were interested in upgrading the quarterback, but there were only 3 that would do it, not a 4th. So they went with the wide receiver, and I think that's the right call. That was the best player available. So Giant fans can look at it and go, well, Daniel Jones, what are you supposed to just draft a quarterback you don't like just because he's not Daniel Jones?
I don't like this pick, though.
Why?
Because I just don't think a receiver is where you go when you're as far away as the Giants are.
Maybe they don't think they're that.
Well, they're wrong.
They said they're more than 1 or 2 players away. But
So
if you believe in your quarterback and you get him a big-time receiver that's along the lines of a Beckham, it's going to help them.
But do they believe in their quarterback?
Well,
so you don't really. I mean, listen. We may feel that Jordan and everybody got it wrong because they didn't go get the quarterback. but the rumblings are not wrong. They didn't get everything wrong. So now you decided, not only are you not looking for a quarterback, but you're doubling down and using your first pick to draft a wide receiver. And Don, let me just throw in on top of that.
Yeah.
We have talked in recent years, guys, about the Giants, the giant way getting a little bit lost. Malik Neighbors is another guy with a history with a gun charge. Are they never going to stop? Like, they just keep gambling. Now, listen, he seemed lovely last night. His energy seemed great. But Malik Neighbors, have you looked up the story of Malik getting in trouble in New Orleans a couple years ago, walking around? Now, listen, I believe everyone has a chance to prove themselves. But, I mean, when you search, when you Google him, the first thing that comes up on NJ.com, why Joe Shane was comfortable with Malik Neighbors' gun arrest. Listen, you're comfortable with it. I'm glad. I'm just saying, hopefully he works out to be better. But, guys, in the case of Baker and Tony, they took risks on character guys, and they got it wrong. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's a valid point. But as far as the position's concerned, well, where are you going to go, Peter? I mean, it's one guy. So if you've got to do a lot of stuff, get a young receiver. It's a receiver's league now. Whoever your quarterback is going to help Daniel Jones, who's making $40 million a year. And if Daniel Jones is not the guy, you're going to go find another quarterback next year. It's going to be nice to have going into his second year, a wide receiver who might turn out to be one of the best wide receivers in the league. I mean, you can strengthen the offensive line. You can go any position you're going into. But there's nothing ever wrong with taking the best available player when the one need that you had wasn't there for you. You're not just going to take a quarterback just for the sake of taking a quarterback. If they didn't like J.J. McCarthy, should they have just taken him because they need a quarterback?
Now, I hear you. I hear you on that. But was there nothing else? They feel like they're all set on the offensive line? Because if Jones isn't protected, Neighbors ain't getting the ball.
Well, that's the way the Jets went. And I got to give Joe Douglas a little credit. First of all, he was very shrewd. He played the Broncos against the Vikings, who were both hot for J.J. McCarthy. So he got an extra pick just to drop down one spot in the draft. And he took an offensive, he took a left tackle. And he could have taken Brock Bowers. And I think Brock Bowers is better suited to help the Jets in 2024. And the kid they took on the line probably isn't even going to start the season as a starter. He's going to be coming off the bench. So I think he did the right thing for the future of the team. He didn't do the right thing for 2024 because I think that Bowers with Rodgers would have been a beast. But I really can't complain about it because I don't think the Jets' offensive line rebuild is all that stout. So we're not quite sure.
But this is what's strange about the pick, and I'm on board with the pick the way you are, Michael. It's just that they went out and signed Smith, but Smith's older and he's injury prone. So you wanted to bring in a left tackle to fill in for him. So that'll work out in 2024 if Smith gets hurt. If Smith is healthy all year, well, then will we be having a conversation late in the year that they could have used for a weapon in the first round because Smith didn't get hurt? So either way you play it, if Smith gets hurt, great, it worked out. They needed the backup. But if Smith doesn't get hurt, then people will be asking, well, why did you draft him? Because we could talk about the future, but the future's now with Aaron Rodgers. So we'll see how light they are at the weapons because Aaron Rodgers should make the players around him better. So ultimately, I think they probably did the right thing because you need depth on the offensive line. But Bowers did drop too, so I don't know how much they probably were in love with him. They obviously passed on him. So we'll see ultimately whether they made a mistake or not.
Now, the biggest surprise, I guess, would be Atlanta going with Penix after they gave Kirk Cousins an inordinately large contract. But you know, the contract that you always read about when somebody signs the contract, I mean, what is it really? It looks like they could get out of it after 2 years. And so you sit down Penix for 2 years behind Kirk Cousins. But also the problem that they've just created, and Kirk Cousins was supposedly blindsided by this, is the first time Kirk Cousins throws 3 interceptions in a game, they're going to be screaming. The fan base is going to be screaming to put in Penix. So what did you do? Why did you even go after Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be motivated by how the fans are going to react to a slow start. This, to me, is a byproduct of their division. Their division is very winnable. So they probably wanted Cousins to help them win while they're grooming their young quarterback that eventually will take over. Cousins is, 35 years old. So I guess their feeling is they can actually have the luxury of grooming a young quarterback and winning at the same time, because that you can win 8 games and maybe win that division. That's probably their motivation. Where I disagree is, how do you not make him part of the process?
Right.
Like, how does he end up finding out through the media? How do you not get on the phone with him and saying, don't panic, we're taking a quarterback.
Well, they did call him when they were on the clock. Right before they made the pick, they called him.
But I don't know why you don't make. We live in a day and age now, especially with the money that's
afraid that it's going to get leaked out. I think that he'll tell his agent will tell his favorite, reporter, and boom, it's out. So I think that's why they're so protective of this stuff.
Well, I just think you got to have some sort of relationship, because now he looks blindsided, and now it looks like he's maybe not on board. I just think you got to get all your ducks in a row. But I do think that this would not have happened if they were in the NFC East and you're competing with the Cowboys and the Eagles. But because of that division, Cousins can be okay, not great, and they still might be able to stumble into the playoffs.
I heard, Peter, that Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, after the pick was made, called up Cousins. You know what he told him?
You like that?
Do you like that?
All right, that was...
And he didn't.
Wait. What a weird... And then I love seeing the Falcons fans meltdown, too, because they're like, wait a second, we have one quarterback coming off of an Achilles and another one coming off of 2 ACLs?
Now, who was the guy that you said did a good job, Peter?
You ready?
Yeah.
Well, 2 things. First of all, I want to give credit to Greeny and the gang, everybody, actually. I thought their Chris Mortensen tribute was touching and lovely. So I want to give credit to them. I thought that was really pitch perfect and a great job. But my MVP, I got to give it up to the Pat McAfee show. The booking of Belichick in that spot was perfect. That is the spot to use Belichick. If you put him at a desk with other serious people, I feel like it ends up getting lost how meaningful it is, and he won't shine the same way. But being with Pat and his guys allowed him to be like, he was still serious, but he ended up coming off as so much more likable by interacting with them. I got to tell you, I thought it was brilliant booking. Last night I thought was a big win for the McAfee show.
I've been saying this, and you guys kind of push back. I think that Belichick's going to be excellent if put in the right situation. The story he told about Randy Moss was riveting when they made the trade for Randy Moss. And I think
but yesterday was the right spot.
Yeah,
That's
and I think
putting him in the right spot.
I think Brady's going to be great, too. These guys are football geniuses, and they can express themselves. Bill Belichick, we've always heard behind the scenes, is very funny and quick, and he's showing it. Yesterday, he was funny and quick.
I just think you're right. He has to be with the right people.
I think he'll be great with the Mannings on the Manning cast.
They'll be good too. They'll be good too, but it has to be loose. Him in the loose setting is what's going to make him stand out and be fun.
But ultimately, listen, Brady's probably done. I say probably because I guess you never ever know. But at one point he will be. And if Belichick accepts the fact that his coaching days are done, then I think he'll open up. But if he's always going to be, I don't want to give too much here because I might be coaching, then I don't know if he'll truly be able to be great. Like, I really thought Rex, outside of him, trying to get the Cowboys defensive coordinator job, really turned the corner as an analyst when he accepted the fact that his head coaching days are over. I thought he was a little bit too protective. That's when I think Belichick will truly be great. So maybe another year or so, when the writing is clearly on the wall, we'll see. And he has to be with the right person.
And they, on the air, I'm sure they did it off the air first. They agreed that he's going to be on McAfee every Monday, and then he's going to be on the Manning cast. Most of the Manning cast, not every single one, but most of them. So I'm sure he can do quite well financially, but I think it's a great get because this guy knows more football than anybody and killed Drake May, the Patriots' choice. Killed him.
He did.
Love it.
I can't make the Patriots happy.
No.
But we'll see.
But then when you
right
find out that Robert Kraft called up the Falcons and killed Belichick, the gloves are off.
We never really got into that, Michael, because there was a lot of other stuff going on. That's Bush League.
It's awful.
The guy gave you a championship. I don't care how you feel about the guy personally. Like, whatever it is, we know who Robert Kraft is because of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. So you should be treating them both with respect. And if the guy wants to get another gig someplace, let him go. Give me a break.
It is. I guess we should have gone to school on the dynasty documentary because it made Belichick out to be the evil one. Let's go take some phone calls. Let's go to Tim in, North Carolina. Tim, what's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. What's up?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I just want to talk about the Knicks. Huge Knicks fan. Been watching for most of my life. And, I just can't believe that Embiid foul, that he would stay in the game after that. And I happened to be watching the drafts, the Knicks and the Islanders at the time. So I happened to look down at my phone right when Embiid fouled him. And I, jumped right out of my seat. I could not believe that he did that. And then I couldn't believe that he stayed in the game. And listening to his excuse with the Kuminga thing didn't really make any sense because Mitch is jumping, and as he's jumping, Embiid grabs his leg, and he causes Mitch to fall on him, which is what he said he wanted to avoid.
Yeah, none of it passes the smell test. Absolutely none of it. Makes the NBA look bad. Makes Embiid look bad. A positive for the Knicks. It makes them look like they're the aggrieved. So this time, the Sixers were the aggrieved in Game 2, and they got the benefit. Maybe the Knicks get the benefit in Game 4 after, it's so clear that the NBA really did not do the right thing by the Knicks. Embiid should have been thrown out of the game. I mean, that's not only a dirty play, but it could have severely injured Robinson.
And the arrogance, he's doing that for two reasons. One, the Sixers are desperate. They know if they lose that game, they're done. And two, he knows he can get away with it.
And you know what? The Knicks took every punch in the first two quarters, and they were leading at the half. And then the Sixers just didn't miss a shot in the third. I think they scored 43 points in the third quarter, and they never looked back. So that was a game right there. We'll take more of your phone calls, talk a little bit about the Islanders' really tough loss, and we'll preview the Rangers and the Capitals with Don and Kenny Albert at 4 o'clock. Hey, I talk for a living, and whether I'm in the...
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
This month on Hard Rock Bet is your chance to climb to the top of the charts. The legendary leaderboards are here, paying out $1 million in cash and bonus money. Leaderboards of all sizes, with daily, weekend, and month-long prizes. This is your shot to be a one-hit wonder. The real deal, or even the ultimate $200,000 chart topper. Download Hard Rock Bet or just log in and let your iconic rise begin.
New season, new reasons to say yes. Wow. Yes to the ultimate viewing experience.
Aaron Judge crushes one.
Yes to in-game live stats. And earn rewards and win prizes. Get all the Yankees action on the Yes app. Download now.
For the longest time, it was hard for me to even get out of the house, much less do a backside 180. It took me a bit to understand what was going on, but eventually I learned I had anxiety. Now I'm getting help for it and feeling so much better. Sure, some days are better than others, but the whole thing about getting out of the house, that's not really an issue anymore.
Horrible migraines, body chills, debilitating pain, dangerously high fever and fatigue that leaves you bedridden. Sound like a bad day? Well, what if it was your whole year, decade, your entire life? For those suffering from chronic Lyme disease, it is. Yeah, Lyme disease. Trust me, you don't know the full story. We are Global Lyme Alliance. We have answers, we have hope, we have help.
For you to get it on your own, X gon' deliver to you. Don't let it go. X gon' give it to you. He gon' give it to you. X gon' give it to you. He gon' give it to you.
Mom! Yeah? I fell. Okay, there's bandages in the cabinet. I'm bleeding. Grab 2.
Sheba, what cats want.
Now streaming on Fubo. Watch the Yankees and more of your New York teams. Streaming live on all your devices. Plus, over 350 top channels. Start watching at FuboTV.com.
Bring color to life with the very best paint. Only at Sherwin-Williams.
It's one fantastic ride. The turbocharged, tech-inspired Kia Forte.
Best 2 out of 3?
Lease a new 2024 Forte LXS for $189 a month.
As a mom, I want my kids' lives to be filled with joy and possibility. And I want that for every kid. That's why I support No Kid Hungry. They work in schools and communities to make sure every kid gets the healthy meals they need. Please join me in supporting No Kid Hungry for all kids.
Half of young adults are at risk of hearing damage from loud sounds. So why is this happening? We know not to bake in the sun for hours. We buckle up to save lives. And we know that smoking kills. We take common sense steps for our health every day. Let's make hearing part of it. Love your ears. Learn more at hearinghealthfoundation.org. Keep listening.
It's time for Diamond Notes, brought to you by London Jewelers, and the big note is that J.D. Martinez has been activated, and he is in the lineup for the Mets tonight. J.D. Martinez batting right behind Pete Alonso, so Alonso cleaning up. Martinez is batting fifth. I'll give you the whole lineup. Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Alonso, Martinez, McNeil, Bader, Beatty, and Nito, with Budo getting the start. So Mets begin their 3-game set tonight on Apple TV Plus against the Cardinals, and you get your first look at J.D. Martinez. That's Diamond Notes, brought to you by London Jewelers. Visit London Jewelers today, any of their 7 locations, including the Americana Mall and the mall at Short Hills. 1-800-919-3776. Go to Brody in Heightstown. Brody, talk to us, my friend.
Hey, guys. Listen, you know, I got to say, on these teams with the getting kind of punked, you know, like the Mets and now the Knicks, you know, you got to retaliate right then and there. That's the only way you're going to kind of get the benefit of the doubt from the officials. Otherwise, you get people kicked out, suspended, and I think they still should do something, and I think they should go after Embiid. I think listen, at first I don't root for injury, but at this point it's like anything's fair game the way he's playing. So I think he just got to do something right away.
Yeah, but if you did something right away, bro, right? If you did something right away, the guy who did something is going to get thrown out. That's all there is to it. I mean, because it's so close in proximity to when the incident happened. You know, like DiVincenzo was right in his face. Right in his face. But the Knicks know that the Sixers are trying to goad them into being aggressive and getting fouls and getting thrown out. I don't think it was the time. I like Peter's thoughts more. You bring in a Jericho Sims and you let him get physical with Joel Embiid.
Yeah, because you've got to take matters into your own hands. The league's not going to help you. The officials aren't going to help you. So they're going to continue to take advantage of it. So That's the only way. There's nothing left to do. Otherwise, you just have to accept it. And by accepting it, I just think that you're digging your own grave. So I like Peter's thoughts. You've got fouls to give on the bench. Take advantage of it.
Go to Phil in Pleasantville. Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, fellas. Happy Friday. So how much did the 2-minute report coming out from Game 2 have to do with the way that the refs reacted to Embiid's antics? Because I get it. Star players get the benefit of the doubt. But that was, like, above and beyond. And if you think about cumulatively, he did the knee into Hartenstein, and then Embiid, what was that, 5 minutes of real life?
Yep.
Where's the cumulative aspect there? And then to the other caller's point, and a little bit to Peter's, Michael, you've been saying all along with the Randall haters that we're going to sort of learn our lesson. This is where we miss him. It's not the 25 and 10. It's that he's the enforcer out there. If this is the hockey team, Randall's our enforcer. Plus, he could probably guard Embiid if Hartenstein and Mitch are on the bench. Thanks a lot.
Well, there's a lot of things you hit there, Phil. I think that the 2-minute report had everything to do with the way the game was officiated. Now, in terms of specifically Embiid and not getting the flagrant 2, here's where I think it impacted it. Because those calls weren't made, the Sixers lost the game. If the Sixers came into Game 3 1-1, there's a chance, albeit slight, that Embiid could have gotten thrown out. Because it would not have ended the series. If Embiid gets thrown out there, it ends the series. The Knicks win the game. They win on Sunday, and the series is over. So I think the overall way that the game was enforced was definitely impacted by the 2-minute report that said they missed those calls, which essentially cost the Sixers the game. Let's go to Spike in St. Pete. Spike.
Hey, boys. I got a lot of brain power here. Bronx High School Science Hall of Fame, a 6-year Terrapin, and the Ramapo rifle. You're all in different places. I need my math checked here. 2 technicals, and you're ejected, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, 6 personals, and you're ejected, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 1 technical and 1 flagrant 1, and you're still in the game?
Yep. Because it's not considered a technical foul per se.
Well,
It
why
is
not?
stupid. Because it's just not. You get a free throw, but it's not like looked at as being teed up.
Right.
Okay, all right. I don't buy that. Obviously, I buy what you're telling me is correct. I just don't accept that because a flagrant 1 is worse than a technical, which could be, raising your finger or saying the wrong word. But I'll leave you with this, and this is what really, really bothered me. And gambling's come into this so much. I would love to see the spreadsheet of the money line bets after that was called a flagrant 1, not a flagrant 2, from the Secaucus area. That was ridiculous. If that's a regular season game, he's out on his ass. And that guy is I said, Peter questioned me the other day. Not questioned me, maybe. I said this is the biggest win in 25 years. This is the dirtiest player I have seen since Bill Laimbeer.
He's up there.
Yeah, he just certainly is.
Yeah, he's up there.
But again, I don't think it's gambling. I just think it's we don't want to have this series come to an end because that's what you're doing. You're pulling the plug on the series. I don't think LeBron James would have got kicked out. I think there's a handful of players that wouldn't have get kicked out because of their stardom, and I think that they realized that if they kicked him out of the game, that the series is over.
And you know one thing, though, Don, that makes it hurt more? If Mitchell Robinson did that to Embiid, he would have been thrown out immediately.
Yeah, and that's got to frustrate you because everything's supposed. The league will tell you that there's no one catches a break. That everybody's created equal. Every game's equal. The first quarter is the same as overtime, and we know that that's BS. And there's a perfect example of that.
Well, the second annual DiPietro and Rothenberg pregame party is coming up on Thursday, May 2nd. Come out to see the live broadcast starting at 6 a.m. from Publicans in Manhasset, just steps away from Manhasset Station on the LIRR, where after the show, the crew will take the train to Citi Field for the matinee game against the Cubs. Now, if you're headed to the game, look for the pregame party in Lot E, along Roosevelt Avenue, that's near the 7 line. And it's brought to you by Montauk Brewing Company. Celebrate the no-frills good life with Montauk Brewing Company, maker of New York's favorite craft beer, Wave Chaser IPA, a highly approachable brew that has packed tropical hops and delivers endless flavor. Chase your wave. And by Zing Zang, America's favorite Bloody Mary brand. Now it's even easier to enjoy a Bloody Mary with their pre-mixed cocktails, available in convenient cans and party-sized bottles. Just open, pour, and enjoy. Please Zing Zang responsibly. Peter, what do you have to tell us about FanDuel?
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. Our incredible same-game parlay gets even better when you add Profit Boost. You can still combine all of your favorite selections to increase your potential winnings, but now we're giving you the option to boost your profit up to an extra 30%. Look out for a profit boost on select games and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
When the prize is our future, every day is a match of our lives. I am Pilo Gomez. In all my years of playing around the world, I have never seen a brighter soul than Kiara's. Watching her move with such power and grace, you would never know what it took for her to be here. Together with her world-class team, Kiara triumphed over a rare cancer that nearly stole her future as a dancer. She is an inspiration for any challenge we face. When we unite around one purpose and drive towards one goal, that is when we win.
At Manchester City Football School, both boys and girls can train and develop at a world-class facility.
This course helped me develop my football skills a lot.
I have enjoyed learning to play like an actual Manchester City player.
Attention please, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Yes.
As a mom, I want my kids' lives to be filled with joy and possibility. And I want that for every kid. That's why I support No Kid Hungry. They work in schools and communities to make sure every kid gets the healthy meals they need. Please join me in supporting No Kid Hungry for all kids.
Because, Don, Peter, of the three of us, is the pacifist of the group. And he's advocating for violence.
In this case, Michael, I don't advocate for real violence, okay? But in sports, when we're inside the halls that are sports, physical things happen. And sometimes physical things require physical responses. So I believe Joel Embiid needs to get a good old rap right to the noggin.
Wow. Wow.
I love it.
Now, Don is in the broadcast level in D.C.
Do you notice? Do you hear what his mic sounds like today?
Sounds beautiful,
Michael?
right?
but he sounds just like I'll write all the numbers down for the Capitals, which is it's where he was.
That's right.
Probably the same headset, same building.
But joining Don and all of us is our good friend who will do the game on TNT tonight, and that's Kenny Albert. And he'll be calling the game nationally. The game can also be heard and seen on MSG. All the games can be seen on MSG as well. And Don will be doing the play-by-play right here on 98.7 ESPN. Kenny, welcome to the show. How you doing, my friend?
Last week, so I know you guys have hardcover copies. I'll have to get to the paperback as well.
Well, Don likes the paperback. It's easier for him to carry into the bathroom. He's a big paperback guy.
It is much easier to carry, for sure.
I will accept yours, but I'm not a paperback guy at all. And he wrote the forward for the Sports Phone book, Michael.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I did. Michael, I know you work there, and Don, and so many other friends and colleagues of ours. I never actually worked there, but... Don, you might recall I was a big fan of the Sports Phone quiz.
Yeah, quiz.
I would head home from high school every day at 3:20 and listen to the quickie quiz question. Actually won it a couple of times.
Now, what you would answer the question? There'd be a call online, and what would you win if you won it?
So I did win on occasion, along with friends of mine, and the two prizes that I remember winning, the first were tickets to a Devils game over in their early seasons at the Meadowlands. And then, Michael, I know you and I were really close with Dennis D'Agostino, who passed away last year, who was the terrific public relations executive with the Mets and then the Knicks, and worked at Madison Square Garden for many, many years. He actually wrote a book in the early to mid-'80s, this date in Mets history. So I won a copy of Dennis D'Agostino's book, and I think I still have it somewhere to this day.
Excellent. Now, you're going to be calling tonight's game on the television side nationally on TNT. The Rangers have won the first two. I was reading up to Don and Kenny. It's been forever that they went 3-0 in a series. They don't make things easy. Why can they do it this time? And can they do it this time?
Well, I think they certainly can. The Capitals will certainly make a push. It's their first playoff game on home ice. It's always a great atmosphere here. From the Washington standpoint, they're probably looking at it like, we almost tied the game in the last minute. It was a 4-3 final score in Game 2. But, I look at the Capitals. Nobody expected them to make the playoffs this year, and they had a terrific push at the end of the season. They won the last 3 games, 4 of the last 5, and the Rangers are certainly, when you look at the entire scope of the season, a superior team, winning the President's Trophy, setting a franchise record for points and wins, and they really have no holes, Don. I'm sure you would agree from the goal on out. With Washington, Ovechkin's been quiet. It's been well documented. He has only 1 shot in the 2 games, has not scored in his last 7 games against the Rangers. But I think the Rangers will probably expect Washington's best tonight, at least at the start. They'll have a big push playing back at home.
And this has been a house of horrors for the Rangers. They've lost 5 of the last 6 games down here in D.C., and Oshie only has Oshie and Ovechkin have been Ranger killers in their careers, have a combined 3 shots in the first 2 games. So they've done an excellent job there, but as Kenny said, came down to the wire in Game 2. I'm kind of wondering, and everybody asks me, and I don't know the answer to this, Kenny, how do they bring Hedl into the postseason? I mean, he is an asset. He's healthy. Peter Laviolette says if you're healthy, then it means you're a healthy scratch. And I can't imagine he's going to be a healthy scratch for the length of the playoffs. When and if do they get him in this lineup?
And what a story it will be when and if he returns, because it did not sound like he was going to be a possibility for the remainder of this season when he suffered the setback. So he's been skating, as you know. He's been taking part in practices, and we'll see if and when that does take place. But when you look at what he's been able to do the last couple of years in the postseason, remember the kid line 2 years ago with Hedl, Lafreniere, and Kakko, so would certainly be a huge addition. He started the season as the second-line center, and then ironically when he got hurt, that's when Trocheck moved up in the lineup.
He won't go back there.
Had the best year of his career, as did both of his line mates.
Now, you mentioned Ovechkin, 2 games, 1 shot on goal. Is it because of what the Rangers are doing, or is it because he's an old player and there's not much there anymore, although he finished very strong?
I think it's a combination. when you look at his regular season, did not have a good first half, but then really came on strong. Finished with 31 goals, which is incredible for a player his age. But when you look, and Don, you and I have both watched hockey for a long time, and you never really get to know a coach, as well until he's with the team that you cover and watch all the time. And Peter Laviolette's a guy who has had great success, won a Stanley Cup with Carolina, brought the Flyers in Nashville to the final. But I think watching him this year and just the subtle adjustments he makes, the move he makes, the moves he makes with players, you really start to appreciate, how good of a coach he is. And, whether it was, throwing out the fourth line, Rempe, Goodrow, and Vesey in game one for the second shift of each period and getting them into the flow early, or double shifting Panarin at certain times, which paid off in a goal in game one. And then defensively, defending Ovechkin. He coached the Capitals the last 3 years, so he knows Ovechkin really as well as anybody, knows his strengths and weaknesses. And the one thing that we did see, Michael, over the first two games is that the Rangers, the home team, had the last change, and they tried to get that Trocheck line out against Ovechkin as much as they could, because Ovechkin's, not one of his strengths is not defending. So when the Rangers had that line on the ice, it caused a lot of problems. We saw the giveaway Ovechkin on the, when Zibanejad stripped the puck, and that led to a goal in game two. So a little different here in Washington. The Caps have the last change, but, don't discount the fact that Peter Laviolette coached Washington the last 3 years and knows their personnel very well.
You brought up Peter, and we've seen the difference between this year and last year. Not that the Rangers were bad last year. They had 107 points, but just you could see their structure. And the other thing I give Peter credit for is how well Alexei Lafreniere has matured, and even Kakko. We forget Kakko missed 33 games. I think we could have seen the same maturation process had he not gotten hurt. What do you think he's done to bring the best out of those two young players?
Well, I think one of the things with Lafreniere, Don, is he moved him to the right side. He was a natural left winger, and for the first 4 seasons of his career, or 3 seasons, he played primarily on the left wing, but he's stuck behind Panarin and Kreider, who are left wings, so he doesn't get a lot of power play time. The minutes are down compared to maybe other first overall picks who wind up getting drafted by bad teams lower in the standings. He went to a good team, and sometimes it takes a little extra time for an 18 or 19-year-old. He also came into the league during the pandemic, so he didn't play in the World Junior Tournament, didn't really have a summer camp or a training camp, so it was kind of a weird start to his career time-wise. This year, Laviolette moves him over to the right wing, so he's on that second line with Panarin, and first Hedl, and then Trocheck comes in, and it led to the best season so far of his NHL career.
Would both of you guys think that, there's no sure things, but if the Rangers don't at least make the Stanley Cup Finals, that it would be a disappointing season?
I would say at least the conference final. Because here's what I would say, Kenny. You won the President's Trophy. You haven't won a cup in 30 years. But I look at Florida. I look at Carolina. Like, how could you look at it as a failure if you lost to those two teams? They're so good, especially Carolina. So, Michael, I hear what you're saying. But next up would be Carolina. They might end up sweeping the Islanders, and they're the second-best team in the league to me, point-wise. It might be the best team in the league overall. You saw what Florida did last year. Like, those are probably the two teams you're going to have to face to get to the Stanley Cup Final. So, how do you look at it as a disappointment?
I think the Rangers, as they're built, are certainly good enough to go all the way, go to the final, win the Stanley Cup. Wouldn't be surprised if they did. But I agree with Don. There are a lot of good teams, and we both worked with Dave Maloney for 19 years, and if he said it once, he said it 100 times. Only one team can win at the end of every season, every sport. So 31 teams don't win. It's not that easy. And, you mentioned Carolina. I saw Florida last night, worked their game down in Tampa. They have a 3-0 lead on the Lightning. Boston and Toronto, we'll see how that series plays out. So there are probably 6 teams in the East right now who think they can win the Stanley Cup. And the Rangers are certainly one of them.
Let's talk about what happened with the Islanders last night. We talked about this yesterday, Don. They went back to their goalie, who has his 8-year contract kicking in next year, and they got pulled after one period, and the 3 goals he gave up ended up holding up. They've got themselves a goalie problem, guys.
It seems that way. I mean, obviously, I supported the decision, Kenny, to have Sorokin play because you want to just change the vibe, kind of like what the Devils did last year in the series with the Rangers. It didn't work. Varlamov was great in the first 2 games. Sorokin gave up, at least 2 of those 3 goals were not great. Probably cost them the game. I think if Varlamov plays, they win. And it ended up being a mistake by Patrick. But I don't think they would have won the series anyway. But now you have no shot.
Right, and I saw that they will be starting Varlamov tomorrow, and it's fascinating because who made the decision? One of the greatest goaltenders in NHL history, and I know he referenced the fact that when he was in Montreal and Brian Hayward was his backup early in his career, he said, I was the Ferrari, he was the Cadillac, and he made the same analogy to Sorokin, the Ferrari, Varlamov, the Cadillac, and did go with Varlamov in the first 2 games. They certainly could have won the first game, and then despite getting outshot by a wide margin, they had a 3-0 lead in game 2. So, from an Islanders standpoint, it's disappointing. They scored only 6 goals in the series, and starts Sorokin last night and gets pulled after allowing the 3 goals.
Listen, we can hammer them, Michael, but they're just not in the same class as Carolina.
And it's similar to Washington, I think. The Islanders made such a big push at the end of the season, right? 8-0-1 over their last 9 games to make the playoffs, and then they run into a Carolina team that's certainly one of the top teams in the NHL.
Well, what do you do? I mean, let's talk broader scope with the Islanders. What do you do for the Islanders? Sorokin's contract kicks in next year. It's an 8-year deal. If Juan remains your coach, is there a goalie issue now?
Well, no, I think you keep both. Sorokin has a long contract. They signed Varlamov to that 4-year deal a couple of years ago. He was with Roy previously in Colorado. And, look at Boston with Swayman and Ullmark, who alternate. They had a terrific regular season last year, and now Swayman's won the 2 games. There's been a little bit of controversy, when he started Ullmark in Game 2, and we'll see what happens the rest of the series and playoffs in Boston. But, certain teams have that one goaltender that they ride throughout, and then sometimes you do see the 2, not as much with championship teams, I guess, over the last several years, but it's worked for Boston during the regular season and so far in the playoffs this year.
Ultimately, you have to determine, was this just a bad year for Sorokin, or is it the sign of things to come? Because this is a world-class goaltender. This is a Vezina Trophy candidate goaltender that just happened to have a bad year. And you look at the Rangers, you look at the struggle Shesterkin went through. He didn't live up to expectations last year based off of what he did in 21-22. Had a really bad January this year. So that's why great organizations have to make decisions. Is this just a hiccup, or is this a sign of things to come? He's got, I guess, his no-trade clause kicks in July. I don't think they would deal him, but Kenny's right. You usually want to have a quality backup goaltender to move forward, but I still think Sorokin's their guy.
No, it's never the smartest thing in the world to criticize Lou, who's been doing it forever, a Hall of Famer, but he has stood pat for a while with this team and not made big moves. So, I mean, does this team have to just be changed completely if the Islanders want to advance?
Well, he has made a couple of moves. You look at Pajot, right, a couple of years ago. Horvat last year. That was a pretty significant move prior to the All-Star break.
He didn't make a move at the deadline.
Didn't make one this year.
And I guess you could say he didn't need to, because look at how well they played down the stretch.
Yeah, but it's making the playoffs enough.
Change, right? Coaching change was the big move this year.
But I look at them and I say that they're short. Right? They're just Barzal has not turned out to be the offensive player they thought. They've got nice players. They're not the defensive team they used to be. They need to probably start to move forward. And I can understand the question: is Lou, a guy in his late 70s, early 80s, a guy that you want to do that with, or do you want to make a change? I don't know. Ledecky's got some very interesting decisions to make, because in this division, where you got the Rangers, you got Carolina, I think New Jersey's going to bounce back. I think Columbus has a very nice future. You saw what Philadelphia could put together. You could all of a sudden find yourself being the 8th team in this division and not being able to dig yourself out.
You said you were in Florida last night, Kenny, and now you're in D.C. So, because you do national games and you do the Rangers as well, do you ever wake up in a hotel and not know where you are?
Oh, wow.
Now, Michael, and you could probably relate to this with all your travels, I do take a picture of the hotel room number just to be safe, just in case, because oftentimes the previous room number kicks into your head. So this is a 4-day stretch: Tampa, D.C., Islanders tomorrow afternoon for TNT, and then back here on Sunday. So definitely take a photo of the hotel room.
You know, when I was doing basketball, I would sometimes get disoriented, like when I did the Nets, and I would put an index card on the mirror in the hotel. It says, Cleveland, Milwaukee. It's just, you didn't know where you woke up. So with you, it's even worse because it's every day you could be in someplace different.
And you guys remember the great Sal Red Light Messina, Hall of Fame broadcaster with the Rangers. Back in the late 90s, we once arrived at a hotel with the team at about 2:30 in the morning, and Sal couldn't figure out why the key card wasn't working. It turns out he was trying to use the Rangers' pocket schedule to open up the hotel room. He had it in his pocket.
I think that went beyond just a lot of work and travel. There was other issues, it sounds like.
Yeah, that didn't work.
With Sal, we love him. We're just kidding. But, Michael, we're busy. I got hockey. You got baseball. It's not just the different games, the different cities, different sports. I mean, this year you were doing, filling in, doing Nick radio and television. During the football season, you do NFL. You got baseball coming up, too. I mean, Michael, I can't think of anybody that leaps to mind that does 4 sports as consistently as Kenny.
Well, certain times of year it does get crazy. October, November, December, when football takes place on weekends, and then whether it's the Rangers or TNT, and then working about 15 games when I'm filling in for Mike Breen on Nick's television. But those are also the most fun times of the year, I feel.
I never hear it, but have you ever called a Panther game in the NFL and slip and say Florida Panthers? You ever call a Nick Celtic game and slip and say Bruins?
I do have to remind myself occasionally. It's never come out on the air, fortunately, but you have the Florida Panthers in hockey, the Carolina Panthers in football, and the Carolina Hurricanes in hockey. So there are little reminders, but to me, it's some of the phrases. In football, it's the play clock, but in basketball, it's the shot clock.
Right.
And there are a couple of other examples like that where there are similar words, but different depending on what sport it is.
Now, because
it's humbling to fill in for a guy, Michael, that never makes a mistake.
No, that's not true.
Well, dude, I mean, because you did a game last night, when you're doing tonight's game, do you just etch-a-sketch all the numbers that you memorized from last night's game and just plug new ones into your head?
You know what? The playoffs are almost easier once you do a game in a series. And obviously tonight and Sunday it's the Rangers, so I'm around all the time. And I worked the first 2 games of this series. Game 1 on the TV side at MSG with Joe Micheletti. Game 2 on the radio side with Dave. I'll do at least 1 game in all 4 East series come 2 o'clock tomorrow. I work Game 1, Boston, Toronto. Game 3, Tampa, Florida last night. Game 4 of the Islanders, Carolina tomorrow. So for a day or 2 before the playoffs start, just catching up on the other teams, the preparation. But once I work 1 game in a series, it's kind of easy from there because you watch the games, whether you're working the game or not. I'm taking a car with Brian Boucher, my partner, after this game to Long Island, staying at a hotel. It's a 2 o'clock game tomorrow. We've already planned we're going to watch the Islanders game from last night during the car ride. I've already read everything, but that's the plan tonight. About 11 at night, we'll probably have some pizza, and we'll be watching Game 3 of the Islanders Hurricanes.
It's actually very rare, Michael, that Kenny and I are at the same game.
I know.
It's very rare.
A couple of times a year, not too often.
Very
not
seldom,
too often.
and it's usually under these types of circumstances.
I'm just appreciating the moment, seeing the 2 of you together.
Yeah.
This is. I hope you guys. Someone needs to snap a photo of this.
I did, all right.
All right.
And Don's not too fond of Kenny either, so it's sad.
Well, it's just simply
Listen,
not
you're gonna hear some things in your travels. Would you ever poison Kenny? How would you feel if Kenny died? These are things I don't think about. These are things I'm asked about.
Can I tell you my favorite memory of Don?
Yes, please.
My favorite memory.
I don't even know
this is about 3 or 4 summers ago, right?
Yeah.
So at my house, there's a cul-de-sac in front. And how old were your kids then?
Probably 2.
So they were pretty worn out, right? So it was a summer barbecue, and Don's kids are in the pool and they're running around, and it was time to leave. And you were holding both of them in your arms, and you just looked exhausted. And you put them down at the bottom of the cul-de-sac, and they start running around, and Don's chasing after them. I wish I had the video camera out there.
A broken down man chasing his children. I love it.
He just looked. It's the most exhausted I've ever seen him.
And you brought up the barbecue, which is a very sensitive subject on the show.
Michael was invited last year.
But I was doing a game.
Well,
you wanted to rearrange? You wanted to reschedule it?
That's why we had the barbecue that day.
I feel like I pushed the invite, though. That makes me a little uncomfortable, Kenny, because Don's always been invited.
Anytime. Peter, you too.
Thank you. I might take you up on it.
Love it. Love it.
Love to have you.
Kenny, have a great call on TNT tonight.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Peter. Don?
Yes, thanks, man.
Always good to see you in person.
It's always a pleasure, buddy.
See you Sunday.
All right, so Don's going to be doing the play-by-play tonight right here on 98.7. So our coverage will begin right after the show. And then we also want to remind you, Kenny was on because he's doing TNT, but the game will also be on MSG with the great Sam Rosen and Joe Micheletti. Yay! So we got you covered, baby. We got you covered.
Right, so MSG is actually telling our audience not to watch you tonight. Are you comfortable with that?
They're also probably saying, if you do watch me, turn down the sound and put on Don and Dave, right?
I don't know if they're thinking that, but I do. I hope our audience does that.
Beautiful. 1-800-919-3776. Rangers and the Hurricanes game 3 tonight. All those places you could watch it and hear it. But first, Don's going to tell you about BetMGM.
My problem? Like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
New season, new reasons to say yes.
Wow! Aaron Judge crushes one.
Get all the Yankees action on the Yes app. Download now.
He knows how to work a crowd. Juan Soto is just a flat-out superstar. It's a must-watch.
This guy is unbelievable.
Soto has exceeded all the expectations.
If anyone knows the joy of rescuing animals, it's me. Just ask my rescues, who are all very important members of my family. Your life can also be forever changed by adopting a shelter pet. And it's not just about happiness your pet gets from finding a loving home, but that which you'll get from bringing them into your life. The heroes at American Humane have been helping animals for more than 140 years, whether it's rescuing animals caught in disasters, ensuring the safety of animal stars on screen, or protecting our planet's endangered species. They go above and beyond to further their mission and make the world a kinder place for animals. Please consider adopting a shelter pet and support American Humane. You can learn more at AmericanHumane.org.
Yes Network is now streaming on Fubo. Watch the Yankees and more of your New York teams. Streaming live on all your devices. Plus, over 350 top channels. Start watching at FuboTV.com.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so.
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay and how fast you can get started.
Step into the world of Golden Nugget Online Casino. With all the slots and table games you love, feel like you're on the casino floor no matter where you are. Score rewards by playing your favorite games and get your winnings almost instantly with lightning-fast withdrawals. So what are you waiting for? Have a great time in your downtime. Download the Golden Nugget Online Casino app and get started today with this great offer.
New season, new reasons to say yes. Wow. Yes to the ultimate viewing experience.
Aaron Judge crushes one.
The Yes app. Download now.
Yankee streaming is brought to you by Montefiore Einstein.
Half of young adults are at risk of hearing damage from loud sounds. So why is this happening? We know not to bake in the sun for hours. We buckle up to save lives. And we know that smoking kills. We take common sense steps for our health every day. Let's make hearing part of it. Love your ears. Learn more at hearinghealthfoundation.org. Keep listening.
What if you went to your secret hiding place and found this? All drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, know that you can quit. For help with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral. Or go to samhsa.gov/know-the-risks.
This portion of the Michael K. Show on 98.7 ESPN is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of New Rochelle, proud member of the Pepe Auto Group, the name you've trusted since 1968. Let me give you a pinstripe report. It's brought to you by Bet365. Couple of bits of news. The Yankees optioned Cody Morris to AAA. They added Michael Tonkin to the 26-man roster. Now, the story of Tonkin is amazing. He started the season with the Mets, pitched a couple of games. They designated for assignment. He's picked up by the Twins. He pitched one game. They designated him for assignment. Picked up by the Mets. Pitched a game. Designated for assignment. Picked up by the Yankees, and now he's on the Yankees. So, not exactly settling in. I hope he does not have long-term leases.
No, but at least he's getting a chance at the majors, getting several chances at the majors.
Now, how about this? This really, I mean, I don't know why, but this number jumped out at me. It's Aaron Judge's birthday today.
Okay.
He's 32. That's what happens when you're a player that goes to college. And I'm a big college advocate, but that's what happens.
He's a man of college.
Man of words.
Yeah.
So he's 32 today. Yankees ended up splitting 4 games with the A's. Yesterday's game, they left so many men on base, did not get the clutch hit. And when you look at the Yankees right now, and you see their record, I mean, they're so fortunate. They still have not hit. They have not hit. And they're winning because of their starting pitching, which we were all afraid of when Garrett Cole went down. Their starting pitching is 4th in the majors in ERA. Luis Hill will start tonight against Colin Ray of Milwaukee, but they're doing this, and their offense has not clicked. And you would assume that it's going to click, but it has not clicked.
And even when they score, Michael, it's in bunches. Like, they have a lot of runs in, like, well, the other night they won 4-3, and all their runs came in the first inning. Like, they've got so many zeros. You look at their box score, there's so many innings in which they don't score.
Yep. And that was the whole homestand, too. They were 4-3 on the homestand, and they just pretty much scored an inning each game. I think there was one game where they scored a couple of innings. That was the third game, I believe, against the A's. But strange, very strange, but they've kept their head above water to a good extent. This is going to be a pretty difficult road trip. Milwaukee's very good. You have 3 games here, and then they play the Orioles 4 times in Baltimore, starting on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday afternoon. That's the Pinstripe Report, brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, never ordinary at Bet365. Also, highly touted, #1 prospect in all of baseball, Jackson Holliday was called up well before anybody thought the Orioles would call him up, simply because of the fact that they would have been able to keep him 7 years rather than 6. He's represented by Scott Boras, and they brought him up anyway because he was killing it at AAA. He just got optioned down to AAA. He just didn't hit in the big leagues, and nobody expects him to fail at the big leagues. He's that great, but he didn't hit. This is a hard sport, Don.
It's hard, and there is a huge gap between AAA and the majors. There just is, and it should be the biggest gap. The guys go from single A, double A, triple A, and you just think, all right, well, the next step is the major leagues. That's a gargantuan step. Some can do it, and I'm sure he will, Michael, but he was just overwhelmed.
Strange. Very strange.
Wow.
But that's life.
Hard sport.
That's life. Let's take some phone calls.
Shall we?
Let's do that.
Show me something.
Let's go to Mark in Florida. What's up, Mark?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Love the show.
Thanks, you, man.
Hey, was looking ahead at the end of the season, thinking the Yankees really should let Gleyber Torres go because he just hasn't been what they expect when they got him like 7, 8 years ago. I was wondering what your thought was about that.
I never thought they were going to re-sign him, Mark. So no matter what type of season he has, they've got to keep the payroll somewhat under control. They've got young players that they could plug in, maybe like a Peraza, Yorvi, what's his name, Vivas is somebody that they like a lot. And, those guys will play for $1 million a year. So I believe that this is Gleyber's last year. Unless he takes an incredible discount to stay with the Yankees, I'm not quite sure why he would do that. I know he loves it here. But, this is the way you earn your living, and he's having a terrible, terrible season. Let's go to Matt, New Haven. Matt.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. What's up?
Not bad. Listen, I think we got to give some credit to what Matt Blake is doing. I was worried about the pitching staff when, it first started. But now in the offense, ever since, really, all these shutouts, every single game, if we lose, it's on the offense every single year. It's crazy. But, Matt Blake finds a way to find a Clay Holmes, find a Dennis Santana, and make it into a stud. So I just don't know. Every single year we look at the lineup and we're like, oh, wow, look at Soto and Judge. They're going to be the highlight of this team. And then it's always seems to be the pitching staff. So I think we got to, give a round of applause to Matt Blake. When you see Clay Holmes or someone in there, they find a way.
I would agree. And let's not forget Ian Hamilton. They make it work in the bullpen. And he's making it work with the starters. He's a good pitching coach. And, has a nice resource as well with Andy Pettit around a lot this year where they could talk about situations that Andy was in. But Matt could break down all the analytics and break down pitch paths and things like that and things that work for you. He's been a very good pitching coach for the Yankees. Joey in Montclair. Joey.
Hey, gentlemen, thank you for having me on again. Love the show. Happy Friday. Let's go Rangers.
There you go.
Listen, I'm not an advocate for violence, but I agree 100% with Peter. If that's the way the Sixers are going to play, I want to see Jericho Sims get some minutes and put a little extra emphasis on Embiid's leg. I have 3 kids, and I tell them all the time, it's never okay to be a bully, but it's absolutely okay to defend yourself.
Well, I don't it makes me a little uneasy, Joe, to, target his knee. I just say be physical with him.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all you have to be. Is be. But the hard thing, Jericho Sims is huge, right?
Yeah.
Embiid's bigger. Embiid's gigantic. He's gigantic. It's not going to be easy to bully him.
No, but you got to push back somehow. There's not a lot of guys that are his size. There's not that many guys that are as good as he is. But sometimes just showing up is enough to let him know we're not going to take this. We're not. Let the rest of the league know, hey, you're not going to be able to push us around. We plan on getting out of this series, and whether it's Milwaukee or Indiana or whoever we're going to face as we move down the line, hey, you want to try to bully us, we're going to push back. People get caught up in having to win the fight. Sometimes winning is just showing up. and just showing some resistance. You're not going to get help from the league. You're going to have to help yourself. If you're not going to help yourself, then you know what you are? You're a pushover. And you're going to encourage everybody else to do the same. This now becomes part of the game plan, guys. That if the Sixers end up winning this game, even if the Knicks survive and win the series, they're going to go to school. We can get under their skin. We can push them, and they're not going to push back. And that's not New York. That's not this Knick team. Everything they do is the hard way. This is another example of that. And I hope Thibodeau kind of sets the tone here.
And Don mentioned hockey earlier. Hockey is the approach. It's the thing to look at. Like the fact that someone said earlier, and I understand their point, but I disagree. If you didn't do it in the moment, it can't have the impact. I totally disagree. There is a reason where a team trying to turn around a series in hockey will 30 seconds into a game drop the gloves and fight, because it's about setting a tone in that game. And as we pointed out, you have multiple players with 6 fouls you can waste, where there's no Jericho Sims being kicked out of a game 40 seconds in could do enough. It could set the tone that we're not here to play around. That's all they got to do.
I forget who said it. I'm sure somebody on Twitter. If you can't beat them on the ice, can't beat them on the court, beat them in the field, beat them in the alley. That has to be the mentality. And when you think about it, that's in this Knicks team's DNA. The last time they were competing for a championship, that was Oakley, that was Mason, that was Ewing, that was the way. Now, the game was different back then. Now it's completely reversed. But that's why you got to find a way to be able to at least handle yourself. Don't let this team push you around.
Let's go to Jay in Brooklyn. Jay.
Mike, Don, Peter, Tribal Chief, I apologize if I sound extremely infuriated and angry.
Good, you should.
First off, if you're okay, just give me two points. One is the Knicks got robbed last night. The refs, we knew it was going to happen in Game 3. You guys have been spot on. They got to come out and they got to punch them in the face when they get to Game 4. But here's the thing. It was only until the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter did the Philadelphia 76ers put the Knicks away. And that was only because of 2 turnovers we inflicted on ourselves. When OG hit those 2 threes back-to-back, the Knicks were still there, and we scare the crap out of Philly right now. And they know it. The momentum is here in New York. We are the better team. My second point, and this goes to the Yankees, when do we hold the coaching staff accountable to the lack of offense on this team? We keep talking about it. Everything is always, we need the next pitcher. We need the best batter. We need the best player. We could blame Cashman, we could blame Steinberg, we could blame them all. At the end of the day, they are giving us tools to put together a championship team on the field. We are placing a championship team on the field, and yet we cannot have our offense click and make it happen. When do we blame the coaching staff?
Okay, Jay, okay. They fired a coach already. They fired a coach, Dylan Lawson. Sean Casey came. He did not come back. Now it's James Rowson is going to. I mean, when do we blame the players, Jay? Why is it always the coaches? They have blamed coaches. They fired coaches. Dylan Lawson was fired.
Mike, if you're okay, just give me a second here. I hear you. We can blame the players. Yes, they have a responsibility to get into practice, into training, correct their swing, own the ownership of the success that they are producing. But there's not a single player that's on the Yankees here that doesn't want to succeed. They're here because they want to succeed. So
you don't think coaches want to succeed?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. But that's what I'm saying. When do we figure out that they are just not capable of succeeding?
But Jay, you're ignoring the fact they fired Dylan Lawson. And then they brought Sean Casey, a completely different hitting coach, in, and he didn't come back. And now they have James Rowson. When is it the players' fault? They have blamed the coaches. So I don't know. So you want James Rowson fired after like 27 games?
Or is this a shot at Boone?
This is not a shot at Boone. Please understand. I'm not saying everything is Boone's fault. I'm not the crazy Yankees fan, I promise. I'm not saying everything is Boone's fault. But there are other individuals that are responsible for the offense. Now, you talk about Dylan Lawson. They fired Lawson, and then they made this whole big rant and speech after last season that we need to understand the analytics and how to connect with our players better. So you're giving us the spiel. You're preaching to us that you're going to fix it and change it. I'm not saying fire anyone after 27 games. But at some point, we keep discussing the lack of the success of the players. But if we took this team and we gave it to Dusty Baker in 2023, would he have better success?
So you are, but Jay, you doth protest too much. So you're talking about Boone. Dusty Baker's not a hitting coach. You're talking about Boone. I mean, again, you change coaches. When is it on the players? Is it James Rousen's fault that Gleyber Torres hasn't hit? Is it James Rousen's fault that Aaron Judge has not been Aaron Judge? I mean, is it James Rousen's fault that Anthony Rizzo has not been Anthony Rizzo? I mean, you got to say it's his fault about Austin Wells too.
But I love the caller. I love his attitude. But he just didn't want to own it. He's going after Boone.
That's what it sounded like.
You don't bring up Dusty Baker if you're talking about changing the hitting coach. And Dusty Baker is a Hall of Fame manager. So you don't want to go after Boone because you don't want to be that guy, but you are going after Boone.
You're that guy.
Yeah.
You're that guy. Well, from heated seats to built-in Wi-Fi, Bay Ridge Mazda has caps with the premium feature.
FanDuel Casino has your chance at the #1 feeling, winning. Winning ranks higher than any other feeling, higher than number 30. Saying, I told you so.
Told you so.
Higher than number 89, the feeling of catching your car keys with one hand. And number 78, thinking it's Friday when it's really Saturday. New players get 200 chances at winning with their first deposit on FanDuel Casino.
Of course, the GMC Terrain offers different drive modes. What about Weekend Warrior mode? Or you don't see that everyday mode? How about Out of the Office mode? Or even...
Are you out of your mind?
Mode. Want a mode for everything? Just announced. Sign and drive. Current eligible GMC lessees can get this ultra-low mileage lease on this all-wheel drive Terrain SLE for around $393 per month with zero due at signing. Sign and drive one home today.
I found an app online. It's called Healthy Wage, betting on yourself to lose weight. I can do that. I wanted to diet anyways, so why not make money while I'm dieting? I'm going to bet $100 a month for 6 months that I can lose 50 pounds in the 6 months. It is real. Okay, take a picture.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I lost 50 pounds and gained $1,900.
Get paid to get healthy at healthywager.com.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Yes.
He knows how to work a crowd. Juan Soto is just a flat-out superstar. It's a must-watch.
This guy is unbelievable. Soto has exceeded all the expectations.
Only 1 in 5 people with disabilities, including those with autism, are employed. Why? Outdated stigmas and beliefs. So, let us make it easy. This is a job for someone with autism. So is this. That job, also perfect. Introducing WIN by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring. Yes, these are all jobs for someone with autism. To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win.
Think buying fake products is harmless? Think again. Counterfeits are made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. Each year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products are sold in the U.S. I smell big crime. Think about it. If you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart. Buy smart. Go for real.
Bring color to life with the very best paint. Only at Sherwin-Williams.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Right now, you can get any large pizza for just $12 from Pizza Hut. Any pizza, any crust, $12. That means meat lovers, supreme, or create your own with any toppings, just $12. This deal won't last long, so order any way you want now.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
A summer celebration of soccer is coming to the Bronx. 4 teams, 2 days, 1 Yankee Stadium. World champions Man City open it up with a boogie-down battle versus Italian giants Milan on Saturday, July 27th. Before New York City FC welcomes Mexican side Querétaro to the BX for an MLS vs. Liga MX showdown and Leagues Cup on Sunday, July 28th. It's the world's game, and it's the world city. Only in New York City.
When disaster strikes, no matter where and when, cash is best. Those in crisis are able to decide where that money goes. It's easily exchanged and received across borders, and nobody knows the needs of a community in crisis better than the people within it. With cash, help goes exactly where it's needed, when it's needed. Ultimately, cash creates choice. And when it comes to what we should send to communities in need, our choice is simple.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
Date is set, everybody. June 30th of 2024. You know what that date means, Peter?
No.
Congestion pricing will go into effect.
That's the day?
Midnight, June 30th, 2024.
Bad times. Bad times.
Ooh, what's going on there? What are they saying, Don?
I don't know. They probably have some sort of testing to see if the thing that's worked all year is still working.
Got it every day. Got to make sure every day.
Every day, because you don't want the one day it's not working. Say, boy,
why did you
test tested it early.
Hey, easily the most anticipated sporting event of the year, the pickleball showroom between Team DiPietro and Rothenberg and Team Anita Marks and Amani Toomer. It's Sunday, May 5th at Pickleball America in Stamford, Connecticut. Pre-game coverage kicks off on ESPN New York at 9 a.m. with a live broadcast hosted by Anita Marks as she sets the stage. Then shortly after the show, the paddles come out for the Pickleball Showdown for the ages. Be there on May 5th to witness this showcase event at Pickleball America in Stamford, Connecticut. Now, I don't like to stir it up. You guys know that. Have we ever had an event on this show that has been as promoted as anything that this pickleball event has been, and the City Field event at Publicans?
Maybe the Beach Bash?
Maybe, but everybody's involved in that.
And the holiday.
Okay.
But I was thinking the same thing. But then again, I don't listen to every second of other shows the way I listen to every second of this show. So is it possible that they do? We just don't hear it as much?
No, I don't think it's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me try this one on for you, Michael. Is it possible that the Pinhead suits just prefer that show to this one?
I think that's it. That's it. And, I understand it's a very good show.
Fantastic.
Although I got the date when I'm doing the show with Rick. Very excited about that. Stay tuned and check your local listings for when it's happening.
I haven't got my date yet.
Oh, I'm doing a show with Rick and with Alan. 2 separate shows.
Holy crap.
So not all 3 together.
No. Back in the day, they used to call these tryouts. That's what they used to call them.
Oh, so you think that they're going to be...
Wow, that's what you think?
Wow. Peter, Is he suggesting a shakeup?
I'm not suggesting it. I'm reading the tea leaves, Don. You know, I'm a big tea leaf reader.
Oh, so if you had to predict.
Yeah.
Now, is that based off of any information?
None.
Because I'm sure
Zero.
Because unlike Kirk Cousins, I think you're in the loop.
No, I'm not anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
You're officially out of the loop?
Yeah, I'm out of the loop.
Who's gone that used to keep you in the loop?
So many people are my loopers. So I caught
Yeah,
on as a
that
looper.
You know what? As I think about it, some of the people that are no longer with us, we're loopers.
Don, I'm just told by the key pinhead soup that you did get the dates. Just check your email for once.
Yeah, no, we all got the dates. He's such a looper, Michael, that he wants to name his next child Guadalupe.
But that's your kid, Guadalupe.
Right.
Strange times indeed. Let's go to the phones. How about some?
Why wouldn't they just tell me?
What was that?
Why would they email me? Why wouldn't you just tell me? I'm with them every day.
Well, why don't you read your email? I mean, it is 2024.
Just ask Nancy what it said.
You know what? I'm not going to look at it.
Well, I mean, your problem,
we have
Don,
meetings every day.
It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem that in this day, 2024 of our Lord, right, that you share an email with your wife. It just doesn't make sense.
But that's not how she's never on that. It's my email. But what I'm saying is when you're talking to these people every day, Peter, I'm going to talk to Peter because he doesn't try to stir it the way you do. Wouldn't you mention it? Check your email. Well, why don't you talk to me in the 20 minutes we're talking?
Well, usually
about the show.
He does say a lot of things. I would have thought he would have said that.
Oh, yeah, and everybody's with the emoji smiling. What is this, like some sort of inside joke? Don doesn't look at his emails? That's right. Now I'm going to double down.
You know how Don operates when people start to laugh at him. He doubles and triples.
He says he's good.
No, I'm not. Well, so is that the way we do? Like, I'm not going to wish you happy birthday, Peter. I'll just text you, even though I'm with you every day. Animals.
But we do a lot of other things during the meeting, like you do that special extra show. So maybe they don't have time to squeeze in.
Well, you know what? But I'm going to tell you. Yeah, all right, let's go. Let's go. You ready? Let's go. We used to do a Don show because I just couldn't stop myself from talking because I'm an opinionated piece of garbage.
Well, I don't know why.
But now what it's turned out to be is that I'm actually the only one meeting. I have the audacity to talk about what we should be talking about on the show. Sorry if I'm putting the show first above all of your little histrionics. It's no longer the Don show. It's actually the Michael K show. I'm trying to meet.
But I am strictly opposed to these meetings where I'm going to give my opinions before I give them on the air. I want it the first time to come out of my mouth to be the first time it comes out of my mouth. I'm not going to do it for free on a meeting.
But So I'm wrong?
No, you love to talk. I love that about you.
You saw my text today. Michael, I suggested we cancel it today.
I mean, you suggest that every day.
No, I don't, though. But I really don't. Today, a day post-draft, and with the way the Knicks game played out, I went, if you need to have a meeting to discuss what today's about, you're in the wrong business. Get out.
So Don and I are in the wrong business because we were in the meeting.
No, you just showed up. You had nothing else to do. You were sitting in Milwaukee, so what do you care?
I'm PG-13 in the meeting. I'm XXX on the show.
Okay.
What does that mean?
That's an interesting way of putting it.
I'm showing you some skin during a meeting. But when the show starts, full frontal, baby.
But I'm not showing you anything in the meeting.
All right, yeah. And very little during the show, too.
Now, Peter, is that true?
Which part?
That I don't do anything during the show? I think I bring it hard every day.
Oh, during the show, you're great. During the meetings, you're god-awful. Yeah. Wait, you hear what I said?
How could I help Peter, Don? I don't get it. That's your theory on everything.
I just said
it during the show.
Hold on. Did you hear the whole sentence? You're so crazy.
Listen, you supporting me on his lack of being involved in the meeting is not needed. It's too obvious.
Fair enough.
It's like saying, "Oh, I agree with Don. The sky is blue." Thanks,
well,
Peter.
but I'm not going to lie and say he doesn't bring it during the show. No. Sure, he does. It's Michael K.
What does that mean?
He's the transmitter.
That is true.
Hey, I don't know if you guys realize this, but I talk for a living. And whether I'm in the studio...
Major League pitcher Andy Pettitte. I teamed up with Tunnel to Towers after seeing their life-changing work with military and first responder families. Now we're expanding our mission to help veterans struggling with homelessness. We want to help them rebuild their lives not only by giving them a home, but by providing the services they need. Please join me in donating at t2t.org.
This week only, large 2-topping pizzas at Domino's are just $6.99 each when you carry out, like melty pepperoni and green peppers, or ham and tangy pineapple. The combinations are pretty endless. Act fast and get your favorite large 2-topping pizza for just $6.99 each this week only at Domino's.
Yes Network is now streaming on Fubo. Watch the Yankees and more of your New York teams. Streaming live on all your devices. Plus, over 350 top channels. Start watching at FuboTV.com.
Break up with your old wings and get a new lemon pepper wing from Popeyes. Crispy, saucy, available. Popeyes finally has wings in 6 flavors.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay, and how fast you can get started.
Been there, done that, messed around. I'm having fun. Don't put me down. I'll never let you.
With Allegra, allergies won't hold me back. Allegra starts working 2 times faster than Claritin, and unlike Zyrtec, won't make me drowsy. Nothing beats Allegra. It's the fastest non-drowsy 24-hour allergy relief.
What's your favorite part of a Kit Kat bar? The chocolate?
Nope, the inside.
The wafers?
No, the stuff in between the wafers.
Oh, the in-between stuff.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Now try new chocolate frosted donut. New season, new reasons to say yes. Wow! Yes to the ultimate viewing experience.
Aaron Judge crushes one. What a win for the Yankees.
New season, new reasons to say yes. The Yes app. Download now.
Volkswagen doors are tested 100,000 times by a machine because it would take humans a really long time. A sturdy design that lasts. What? The Atlas. Get 1.9% APR financing or a $3,000 customer bonus on a new 2024 Atlas or Atlas Cross Sport during the Volkswagen 75th anniversary event.
The Community Food Bank of New Jersey is the state's largest anti-hunger organization. We provide nutrition. We provide support. We provide opportunity. We can't do it without you. Go to cfbnj.org to join us today.
So we've talked about the Knicks. We've talked about what should have been a flagrant 2 on Joel Embiid, which would have changed the series, would have ended the series. But then this comes out, which is very interesting about the draft yesterday. This from Albert Breer. The Vikings and the Giants made offers to the New England Patriots for the number 3 pick because they both want to take Drake May. Early this week, Minnesota offered the numbers 11 and 23 picks and its 2025 first-rounder, with pick swaps favoring the Vikings as part of the proposal. And that offer ticked up with New England on the clock. The Giants, meanwhile, did wind up putting their 2025 first-round pick in their offer to move from 6 to 3. So the Giants were willing to go that far, and I'll tell you what, I don't blame New England. There's no offer that's good enough if you think that guy is the guy. If you think Drake May is the guy, somebody go offer you 8 first-round picks. Why would you do it?
No, you shouldn't. If you truly believe it,
Right.
it's invaluable, honestly.
Because it works opposite of what we said yesterday. If the Giants love them, then they have to offer whatever they can to get them. And the same is said for the team that has the pick. If you love them that much, you got to say no to everything.
And they did.
See.
It looks like they did, because that's a pretty good offer for the Vikings, because you would have gotten 2 first-round draft picks this year and a first-round draft pick next year. The Giants are going to give you 1 first-round draft pick this year and the first-round draft pick next year. But if they love Drake May, they got to stay with Drake May. So it's kind of like a Pyrrhic victory for Daniel Jones. Hey, look, we didn't take a quarterback, but we tried.
Yeah.
So they don't love him all that much.
Well,
they don't.
I disagree with that.
Why would they be moving heaven and earth to get Drake May if they really like Daniel Jones?
Because if you think Drake May's the next Tom Brady, then it doesn't matter who your quarterback is unless it's somebody really special. And as much as I love Daniel Jones, nobody's ever going to describe him as really special. Daniel Jones has to know, as much as they may be committed to him this year, he hasn't done enough that they're going to look away from a transcendent quarterback. And when you look at what the Giants were offering, what Minnesota was offering, they believe that Drake May is going to be the next great quarterback in this league.
But
so even if you really like Daniel Jones, it's not going to stop you from trying to get that quarterback.
But whenever you want to draft a quarterback in the first round, right? Like with the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, they had Alex Smith. They didn't care. I mean, it's happened throughout history in the NFL. If you don't love the quarterback, then you're going to look further. If you don't love your wife, you're going to cheat. So the Giants were looking to go out on their wife.
But that's different. Because you are committed to your wife more so than you're committed to a quarterback. You're committed to a quarterback for the length of the contract, and the Giants are committed to a quarterback. They have an option to not be committed to him at the end of this year. But it's a great example you gave in Kansas City, because he wasn't a bad quarterback. Went to a championship game in San Francisco. Patrick Mahomes is just way better. Right? So Alex Smith was a very good quarterback. And as a matter of fact, I think the Giants would love if Daniel Jones became Alex Smith. But he'll never be Patrick Mahomes, and I guess they think Drake May can be Patrick Mahomes. So it's not really like they must not really love Daniel Jones. It's no, they must have really loved Drake May.
Well, let's put it this way. They love Drake May more than they love Daniel Jones, and they love Daniel Jones more than they like J.J. McCarthy.
Yes. So that's in somewhere lies the fact that he's now their quarterback. So, listen, Daniel Jones doesn't have a kick coming. I mean, can he be sitting there disappointed, upset that the Giants tried to trade up? What have you done, Daniel, that makes them want to not want to at least kick the tires on a better quarterback? And that's coming from somebody that's a fan of Daniel Jones. Not to mention the fact that the guy has injuries. So Daniel just got – listen, if he's insulted, then you know what? Use that in training camp and use that in 2024. To make it a moot point. Because if he goes out there and balls and uses neighbor as a great wide receiver, guess what? Those last 2 years of an $80 million contract is going to kick in for him. But if not, then next year, next draft, it's going to be the same merry-go-round again. Where are they picking and what quarterback are they taking?
I'm about done, Don, with the Peter Rosenberg lack of respect.
Interesting.
So the Islanders sent us cupcakes the other day. With a lovely note.
It's been a tough week for me.
And it said, to Michael, Don, and crew. Crew. Now, the site, The Comeback, which is run by the people of Awful Announcing, they go, this is what they said. New York radio host, slap across Embiid's face needs to happen in Game 4. Not Peter Rosenberg. New York radio host. Nickname crew.
It just gets worse.
It gets worse and worse, Peter, and I'm tired of it.
Well, let's analyze it. Why? He's got more followers than you.
Thank you.
Peter Rosenberg's name resonates. Why wouldn't they say Peter Rosenberg? They want to drive traffic. They should have named him. Why didn't they? Is it lack of respect or stupidity?
I'm reading now. I don't even see his name anywhere in it.
Well,
it's in there. It's in the article.
It's in the article.
But that's a bad job. I mean, do they even know how the internet works?
Way down there.
Do they know how social media works? You got a guy that's got like 350,000 followers. You at Peter Rosenberg, you would get so much attention.
Yeah, but the bigger question
is not that lack of respect; it's ignorance on how to forward your information.
But at this point, the lack of respect is ignorance. I mean, that's, you know what I mean. This has been this is 8 years now. I'm not brand new. This show is something they should know better. But you know what? Everyone's gonna. But it's going to be fine.
Peter, I'm not kissing up to you. I mean, it's a fact that if you want to get traction on a tweet, at someone that's got a ton of followers. When somebody like you, who's got that many followers on social media, says something, it is absolutely insane not to at that person. So obviously, this must have been a test article from an intern. They weren't really sure if they wanted a lot of people to read it. So let's just put it out there as kind of like a teaser just to see. Because if you really wanted to get attention to an article you were proud of, You would have. This is the equivalent of mailing it to your friends.
It's a great, you know what's a good point. And people love to hate me, so why miss out on all the people who hate me?
This is not about love or hate. It's about how many followers you have on X.
350,000, something.
Is it morons? I mean, simpletons.
But here now, let me tell you what I think they could be thinking. The way you tell me what Pickles thinks. All right.
Yeah.
They're probably going. If we put New York radio hosts, people around the world are going to think, "Oh, Mike Francesa said this."
True.
I mean, you know what? Peter's got a bigger following.
New York.
In social media? On social media, you want to gain traction. I'm just going by the numbers, Peter. I mean, listen, I happen to like you and respect you, but this is not the motivation. The motivation is 350,000 followers. Do you not want people to read your information?
And the comeback has 20,000 followers.
I mean, this is really, I don't even know why we're analyzing. These are people that are...
But Awful Announcing, when Awful Announcing reposted it, they just added my quote. They wrote, someone needs a nice, good, intentional, accidental slap across Embiid's face. Needs to happen in Game 4. They put it in quotes. They don't attribute the quote. They just leave it blank.
The lack of respect is sickening.
It's unbelievable.
They also liked my retweet of New York radio host at Rosenberg Radio.
Wow, this just really hurts.
I mean, they need to have a class on how to gain traction on social media. Do you not know what you're doing? Peter, am I out of line?
I think you're. A lot of people do a bad job.
I'm just saying that's a bad job. If you want people like the hashtags, I mean, I had to go through it when I first started. Like, Don, you want to mention you're doing the Ranger game. You should at Rangers that have 1.1 million followers. That's a good way to get people to know you're calling the game, not just to the few people that happen to follow you. You got 20,000 people following them. But if I include the guy that said the quote, at Peter Rosenberg, I am now introducing 350,000 people. I mean, seriously, Marco would understand this. Jalen would get it.
Why don't you embrace this, Peter? Officially change your name to the nickname Crew, and I think that would be very hip, and you'd get a lot more attention.
I just call myself. What if I change my name to NY Radio Host?
No, that's too cumbersome. Crew is cool.
Yeah. Hey, how's Crew?
Right.
I'll think about it. I'll take that under advisement.
Have we heard from the Islanders yet? Has there been an apology, Anthony?
You know what? Sorry doesn't fix the lamp in this case. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Also, can I say something else about the NFL draft?
Please.
I think I got to make a rule, guys.
Oh, interesting.
You write this down. Another quote from Crew, from NY Radio Host. I got to make a new rule. No girlfriends allowed at the party.
It's very embarrassing.
Enough is enough. You have one girl looking off into space, looking confused and awkward.
That was Alt's girlfriend, right?
You have another girl the mom is blocking her out.
Blocking her like the sun blocks.
It is like, get your nasty gold digger paws away from my child. Leave the girlfriend at home to celebrate afterwards. It makes for nothing but awkward.
And the Jets picked Shush's mom, I think.
No.
Look at the video, right,
that's the mom that blocked the girlfriend.
But I thought I saw a shush. I'm not saying it's a bad thing because everybody was probably going, woo! And he couldn't hear the call.
Right.
But it still didn't look great.
So the commissioner of football, Roger Goodell, I believe is his name, was on Pat McAfee, had some interesting things to say.
Oh, he sure did today.
Said he would prefer to have 2 preseason games and 18 regular season games, which would extend the season a week and which would make the Super Bowl on the Sunday of President's Weekend so people could get hammered and puke on their shoes and still not have to go to work the next day. And Peter, you actually embrace this. You've been calling for it forever.
I love the idea of it being on the holiday weekend. To me, the Super Bowl feels like a holiday. You know you're going to party. You know you're going to drink. It's a Sunday night. You end up being out kind of late. And then everyone has to go to work the next day. I love the idea of it being a 3-day weekend. I don't feel as strongly about the 18-game season and 2 preseason schedule. But I will say the 2 things I heard about today that I liked are the holiday weekend, President's Weekend for the Super Bowl, and also allowing for the protective helmets in games.
The Gazoo
Those
helmets.
both make sense. That's right.
That is going to look
odd. Give a little. You got a little.
Oh, it's going to be hideous. Now, they're going to have to. Michael, should we start a business where we make more fashionable safety helmets?
Yeah, let's do that.
Because they got to find a way to make them good. You can't just put the big, ugly white pad helmet on people. They got to make them for team colors, right, Don?
Listen, I'm all for protection. That's the main thing. But they're not going to look good. Like, you see these football players with that, it looks cool. If it doesn't look cool, it's not aesthetically pleasing.
What are we doing?
Things. I was very surprised how diplomatic Roger Goodell was. I mean, I would think if he said we're going to now play with a basketball moving forward, that it would happen. Like, it's nice that he's like, I want. He's going to get it. Who's going to stop him? The Players Association? Players Association can't stop him from doing anything, and I think the players would rather have 2 preseason games and 18 regular season games. It means more revenue.
Yeah, but, I mean, first of all, the first, I'd say, 5 weeks of the season now is awful football. There's not enough. No. There's not enough practice and not enough exhibition games, and they don't play the regulars in the exhibition games. It's only going to get worse. You're going to have a terrible. But the NFL can't be hurt. They can't be hurt. So even if they play crappy football for eight weeks of the 18, they're fine. They're fine. As long as you can bet on the games, you're fine.
Yeah, they'd rather have more crappy regular season games than meaningless preseason games.
Right. They'll get more money from the TV networks. They'll get more money from tickets. It's a win-win, except for the players who have to suffer through 18. Think about it. 18 weeks with a bye. They're playing 5 months of football.
Yeah. But if it's less, well, listen, they don't hardly ever play in the preseason, but you still got to show up to the game. So it ends up being 20 weeks regardless. But it'll mean more revenue for them. Now, I will say this, kind of on the same subject, but talking about basketball, I think because Andrew Marchand's reporting the next television deal is going to have Amazon involved.
For the NBA.
For the NBA, and they're going to have regular season and a playoff series. Mistake. Now, it'll make the money. But I'm telling you, they're not the NFL. The NBA is huge. People love it. It's not the NFL. If they stick a playoff game on Amazon, no one will watch it.
I disagree. If I think they're going to get one of the finals, the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference Finals, it will be watched.
It is. I'm telling you, the way people feel about apps right now, maybe one day. But I'm telling you, with everything that's going on, I think it's a huge mistake. People will go out of their way because it's football and it's one game. You're really going to tick people off if you're taking that game. I don't think you think people are going to go watch it the way they watch an NFL postseason game.
They'll watch it to the level they watch.
People complained about that.
Well, the NBA conference finals usually get 7-8 million people. Well, that's what it'll get, and they'll get a lot more money.
I don't think so. Listen,
now they'd be taking a chance if they put the finals on there every couple of years.
Listen. If the matchup is dead sexy, I guess people will go after it. But if you're going to take a game and it's a conference final of, I don't know, Bucks Pacers, come on, really?
Yeah, I think you'll get the same thing you get on cable.
What do you think, Peter? You think you're going to get the same amount of people will go to an app that they would watch it on TNT or ESPN?
I don't know, but it feels like these days, Don, it feels like there aren't a lot of people like us. It feels like most people are completely comfortable consuming in that way.
But there's still less people than consume it the way it is now.
I don't know how much less there is. I really
because we'll just go by the complaints.
But the people that complain are the loudest, Don. People that love it don't call in and go, I love it.
Listen, I'm in the middle of I'm going to be calling a game tonight. But if I'm telling you, if I were home, I wouldn't even bother. I just wouldn't watch it.
But Don, I'm 63. All right, so
you'll be 53 on Saturday.
So I was home on Wednesday when the game was on Amazon. It wasn't a hardship. I just turned on Amazon. I watched the game.
But you know what? But you know how hard. Here's the. Again,
who doesn't get Amazon delivered to them? Who doesn't get packages from Amazon?
I'm just telling you, me. All right, the 56-year-old man. All right, you've got round 2 of the draft. You got the Rangers playing. You got NBA basketball going on. You got the Yankees playing, and now I've got to like change the remote to go to the app to change. I just want to be able to hit previous channel and watch all the different games. I want to be able to hit my guide, flip around. I don't want to have to hit input, change things around. I know it sounds like a first world problem, and I sound like an old man. I'm just telling you, when it's on the app, it drops right down to the bottom of a list of things I'm going to watch that night. I'm just telling you, because it's just aggravating.
Here's what they're going to do. Here's what they're going to do. Right. Peter and I, and even you, Don, we've been predicting this. There's going to be a bundle of apps. Whether it's in 2 years or 5 years, it's going to be just like the cable bundle. That's what it's going to be. So everybody's running away from the cable bundle. They're going to get the exact same thing on streaming.
I'm just telling you, for me, that's going to hurt.
But
maybe I'm in the
ESPN's
minority.
going to streaming. They're going to direct to streaming. That's the plan.
It's happening. That's why. Michael. I've never gotten mad at what the Yankees are doing, the Mets are doing. It's revenue, and it's getting out in front of where we're all going to end up going. You know, same thing's happening with us in radio. You know, the days of transmitters and everything. You're seeing play-by-play now exclusively on app. We're going to that, even in radio. The future is now. I get it. I'm just telling you, for me, in my house, if it's on an app going up against everything else that's over the air or on cable, it is going to drop to the bottom of the list because it's just too aggravating.
Not if it's a playoff series.
Screw you, Frank.
If it's going to be like a regular season game, I understand. If it's a playoff series, you're wrong. How can it drop to the bottom?
I'm just telling you. For me, it would. Now, obviously, if it involves the Knicks or involves the team that I'm interested in, it changes the story. But, you know, to get the people that, like I gave Bucks and Pacers because they don't have a huge national following, the people in those communities are going to watch, fans of those teams are going to watch, but you don't think you're going to lose some people? You're going to lose some. Even
but they'll lose some people, but they're going to make billions of dollars.
It would have done on NBC.
They're going to make billions of dollars.
All right.
Don, I hear you. It's just there aren't enough people like you.
Okay.
And they don't care
Like I
enough.
said, I admitted I'm probably in the minority. But I'm sure that when that playoff game, that Dolphin Chief game on Peacock, did less of a number than it would have done on NBC.
Right, and they got $110 million out of it.
Right.
So they don't care.
But still aggravates people, and and I just don't know if the NBA's got the following the NFL does. You won't get as much people who will hold their nose and do it. There'll be people who's like, I'm not going to watch.
You know what I have here in my hand?
I have no idea.
Yankees starting lineup.
I don't care.
Brought to you by Bigelow Tea and Certapro Painters. Anthony Volpe leads off, play short. Juan Soto in right field bat second. The birthday boy, Aaron Judge, is the DH. He'll hit third. He turns 32 today. Anthony Rizzo at first base cleans up. Gleyber Torres at second base bats fifth. Batting sixth, left fielder Alex Verdugo. Oswaldo Cabrera at third base bats seventh. Batting eighth and catching Austin Wells. And batting ninth and playing center field, it's Trent Grisham, Luis Heel on the mound for the Yankees. That's the Yankees starting lineup, brought to you by Bigelow Tea. Bigelow Tea is a proud supporter of the Michael K. Show and the official hot tea of the New York Yankees and Certapro Painters. When choosing a painting professional for your home or business, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose Certapro Painters. Let's go to the phones. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to JJ in Wake Forest. He's been on for a while.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. A lot of people don't know this, but Brandy Scott is a huge Knicks fan, and I'm hearing Joel Embiid is going to try to injure her next game as well.
Interesting.
I wouldn't stand for that. Then he'd have to deal with me.
Yeah, of course. We have to protect her at all costs. I wonder if you guys, I'm just going to ask a question. I'm not going to throw any allegations out, but did you see that the Embiid after the game had revealed that he's been dealing with Bell's palsy for a while?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
For the Heat game?
Yep.
Is it ironic? Is it a little curious that after he committed such a disgusting, horrible, flagrant to obvious ejectable foul that he wasn't ejected for, and a lot of NBA fans calling him dirtiest player in the league. I was a test by. He literally grabbed the guy out of midair, and he also kicked Robinson in the cubes, the play earlier.
No, Vincenzo.
And stepped on his.
DiVincenzo.
Oh, DiVincenzo. Okay.
No, Hartenstein.
But is it a little curious that comes out after this game? Is it, did his team possibly, wanted that out there? That,
JJ,
this is a good time to
his Bell's
maybe
palsy. Well, I mean, really, does that give him? I mean, thank God it's not a life-threatening illness. He has Bell's palsy. It was reported by Woj. I don't think Woj is doing that so the heat's off of Embiid. And if they did it, it's not working because Peter is advocating for him to be slapped across the face.
Yeah, that doesn't affect me one
New
bit.
York radio host.
No.
Listen,
and you know me, NY radio host, and you know how I feel.
Well, apparently they corrected it, so we do make change.
What they corrected
Did you see? The headline now has Peter's name.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I got it. You know what it is, Michael?
What's that?
The same wonderful man, Alex, who took care of your problem the other day with awful announcing. I bet he did the same thing.
His fingerprints are on everything. He's very good.
Love that, Alex.
Well, spring into savings at Mercedes-Benz of New Rochelle with special.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Step into the world of Golden Nugget Online Casino. With all the slots and table games you love, feel like you're on the casino floor no matter where you are. Score rewards by playing your favorite games and get your winnings almost instantly with lightning-fast withdrawals.
Go!
So what are you waiting for? Have a great time in your downtime. Download the Golden Nugget Online Casino app and get started today with this great offer.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
He knows how to work a crowd. Juan Soto is just a flat-out superstar. It's a must-watch.
This guy is unbelievable.
Soto has exceeded all the expectations.
My dad, he's a double amputee, and he's one of my favorite people in the world. To me, a hero is someone who fights for our country and freedom. My dad is a hero. Homes for Our Troops built this house, and it's basically made for him. My dad can get through the wide doorways. When he is making our lunch, he can reach anything we need. He'll help me build tiny projects. Life is good here. Without Homes for Our Troops, we'd be living in a home that didn't have all these features that helped him.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post-9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives.
If they get a new house like this one, it'll help them do normal life. My dad's not just a hero, he's my hero.
Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
We all want to feel safe when traveling. That's why if you see something that feels suspicious, such as an abandoned bag or erratic behavior from a passenger, just call 911. You can call anonymously, and it's okay if it turns out to be nothing. Work together with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey to keep our transportation facilities safe. Visit PANYNJ.gov to learn more.
FanDuel Casino has your chance at the #1 feeling, winning. Winning ranks higher than any other feeling, higher than number 30. Saying, I told you so.
Told you so.
Higher than number 89. The feeling of catching your car keys with one hand. And number 78, thinking it's Friday when it's really Saturday. New players get 200 chances at winning with their first deposit on FanDuel Casino.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? Don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank. Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
What's the score of the game?
To score is 6-3.
It's your journey. Own every mile in the new Hyundai Elantra with America's best warranty. Lease a Hyundai Elantra for only $179 a month or get 3.89% APR or up to $1,000 bonus cash. Hurry, offers end soon.
Some of us that his dad kept the gun in his closet, and I always talked about
Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. These highlights are brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees.
Michael, Don, and Peter taking you into the weekend. Don's calling the Rangers and the Capitals tonight right here on 98.7. So be sure to stay tuned. Coverage starts immediately after the show. A lot of stuff on the buffet for you to dine on. So let's see exactly what you feel strongly about. Let's go to Terrell in Brooklyn. Terrell.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing all right. Real quick before I go on my little tangent, this is the first time in a long time I've actually been home to watch you guys on TV. And Peter, my man, I'm liking the beard and the glasses look. It's giving big Johnny Sins energy, you know?
Oh, wow. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm glad I updated my look. I'm glad you approve.
Yeah, I'm digging it. But now on a serious topic. This whole situation with the Knicks and Embiid, I get the frustration. It was dirty, no doubt. What you're suggesting, I do not agree with that 100% at all. First and foremost, there are no tough guys on the Knicks, so I don't even know if that plan will work. All it's going to do is rile up the fan base, get that Philly crowd roaring. It's going to have Embiid go for 50 again. It's going to have Maxey go for maybe 35, 40. Hey, I might end up getting blown out. So I think what the Knicks should focus on is learning how to stop a guy on one leg from getting 50. That's really all I got to say.
Well, that's a given. That's a given. But what you can't have is this attitude that I can get away with this stuff. I mean, they don't. Jericho Sims is a tough guy. He's going to sit on the bench and not play. So go out there and rough it up just a little bit. And then you can't worry about, I'm going to rile the fan base up. Stopping Embiid from scoring 50 is a given. You got to do that.
Well, I mean, part of the reason Peter's saying what he's saying is to stop him from scoring 50. Take him out of his game.
But I do hear his point that if you don't have the toughness,
they don't have
to
an oak league. They don't.
If you don't have the toughness to respond throughout the game, I can see how that's problematic because you don't want to just anger Embiid and have him be even better than he was last game and the Philly crowd's even more into it than they were. It can backfire on you if you make a mistake. You got to make sure you're prepared to do what you got to do.
Let's go to, hey, Richard in Manhattan wants to ring in.
Michael, Don, Peter, the biggest problem with Daniel Jones is not his ability. He's always getting hurt. He can't stay on the field. That's the biggest problem. Yankees MVP so far this year, they're 17-9. That translates to 105 games. I'll take it. The MVP is Aaron Boone. He's been masterful with the bullpen. The other night he took out 3 pitches mid-inning, and all 3 relievers did the job. The last reliever he took out, the next to last, 7 pitches. I couldn't believe he did that. Took the guy out with 7 pitches, but the next guy came in and pitched a 1-2-3 night. You got to give this guy credit. Boone has been pulling all the right strings. Now, as far as the Knicks losing last night, it shouldn't be a shock. Fellas, Vegas is genius. You know that. Monday night, the Knicks are 5.5-point favorites. 2 nights later, nothing has changed for the Knicks. No injuries. Nothing has changed. They're 5.5-point underdogs.
Well, one thing changed. They changed venue.
Yeah. That's 11 points, Michael, Don. That's a lot of 11 points is a lot to change like that. I don't understand that. One last thing I'll leave with you guys. If the Miami Heat beat the Boston Celtics, it will be the greatest NBA playoff upset ever. And not only because it's a 1-8, not only because Boston has by far the best record in the league, but because Miami is playing without their superstar, Jimmy Butler. So just think that. Fellas, always a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
That was a good call.
It's not a good call. It's a bad call. I'm sorry.
No. Why do you say that?
It's not even. I know what the Celtics did this season was awesome. But this does not, if that happens, this does not replace Denver beating Seattle and Mutombo on the floor.
This is pretty big if you consider they don't have Jimmy Butler. Come on.
Okay, hear me out, though. Doing that with this Miami team that is perennially going deep in the playoffs and was in the finals last year against a team that is yet to prove themselves in the playoffs. While I understand what you're saying because the amount of wins the Celtics had this year, I'm sorry, a team that's led by Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, I don't, it's not the greatest upset of all time. I'm sorry.
Without Butler?
I mean, by the way, we kind of overstate Butler too. I mean,
well, but he's still their best player, and also, Peter, that Nugget that was in a best of 5. Do they win if it's 7 games?
Now that's a fair point. You want to put it in a different category because it was a best of 5 instead of a 7. Okay, but to me, and maybe I'm defending it because it's the Celtics. I don't think they're going to lose the series anyway. But to me, with it being the Miami Heat and the culture of winning that they have, I just don't quite see it that way.
But that doesn't make his call terrible.
We all agreed. We all agreed that there's a chance this Heat team didn't even start playing till the playoffs started. This is like what they do.
But they don't do it without their best player, Peter.
Yeah, but their best player isn't even consistent 82 games a year.
But that's the whole point. He's playoff Jimmy.
Yeah, and I know, and even playoff Jimmy's really, really good. I agree, but you know what? You guys can disagree. It's fine.
Don't give up, Peter.
No, it would be a great accomplishment, but they're the Miami Heat. They're not the greatest underdogs in history. I'm sorry. Even if they're not the most loaded Miami Heat team they've ever been, and they're certainly not, it's still to me going a bit far to describe it that way.
But my only issue is that you attacked Richard unfairly.
Well, you said it was a great call, and I said no.
Well, it's all relative. I mean, what are we comparing it to?
For previous Richard calls.
So, I mean, really, the standard is very minimal.
You're both being very nasty. You really are.
I
mean, the guy had his points laid out. It was beautifully executed. He didn't get played off.
I said it was a good call.
And I said not a good call.
Right.
Why? Because he said something that you don't agree with? Well, you would have to say it would have to be one of the biggest playoff upsets of all time. Now, okay, I'll back in and say we can't say it's the biggest, but it's one of the biggest. It's a play-in team that lost the first play-in game. They're the 8th seed, and they're playing a Celtic team with the best record in basketball. It would be humongous.
Listen, I hear you guys, and I understand that statistically that will be true. All I know is when I saw the Celtics match up with Miami, I went, great. I know this isn't going to be a regular 8-seed series. It just won't be. So I honestly don't have, I'm not going to have the numbers to back up my argument. I'm only going to have the emotion. But in my brain, I consider every game of this series it's going to be a battle. I don't think about it being like, oh, we know how this is going to go. Celtics are going to run through them. But no, that's not how it's going to work.
New York radio host Crew excoriates caller.
I'm radio host and Crew?
No, New York radio host, Crew.
Crew. No, I'm not changing my name to Crew.
Please do.
No, not comfortable.
It's Crew or them boys. Which is worse?
I think them boys is worse.
They're both not what you want after a very long professional career.
And distinguished.
I don't think Steven would have wrote that in a card. He said it. He said it extemporaneously on the air. You got to forgive him a little bit. They wrote it down. They thought about it and wrote Crew.
Anthony, do we still have the card in the studio?
No, they didn't think about it. They didn't even ask anyone.
I don't know where the card is.
You know what? How is that not framed?
Because that card should be sent to Greek and then put on yes. So people say, well, it's not a bit. It's like real.
I think people know that it's real. It's not that crazy a story.
Let's go to Mark in Los Angeles, California. Mark.
Oh, wow. How about that?
Hey, guys. First time, long time. Love you guys.
Thanks.
Full disclosure, I am a Sixers fan.
Okay. I'd love to hear from you.
This should be good.
Do you think it was a flagrant
I listened
two?
to you guys over the Philly stations and over the LA stations because I think you guys are excellent. And shout out to Andrew. So I think earlier on you were saying how the Knicks aren't getting any calls or any breaks. With that said, I think you guys got the biggest break in the series so far with Game 2.
That was a break.
I mean, it was a game-deciding break. So I understand that, Joel Embiid's play was dirty, in my opinion.
Was it flagrant two to you?
Yeah,
so he should have been thrown out.
Yes, I believe so. I don't believe what Peter was saying, that he's the dirtiest player in the league.
I'm just looking at the stats.
Statistics would back that up, Mark.
I mean, I don't think technical fouls equate to dirty player. Like if he
flagrant twos though, not technicals. He has the most flagrant twos in the league.
Okay, I mean, I would say like your boy Grayson Allen's dirtier.
Well, I mean, that's what he does for a living. But honestly, I think would you agree with this? Embiid is in the conversation for dirtiest and is kind of comparable in terms of the kind of things he does with the other players who are considered very dirty.
Yes, I would agree with that, and I would say most of those players that kind of fall into like the dirty column are kind of like role players. So
correct.
That's why they don't get those calls, kind of like Embiid with the star power. That's why he gets those
Mark,
calls.
do you think the Sixers are going to win this series?
I don't know. They've just broken my heart so many times that, it's like I think with the Game 2 decision that they came out with, some fire. And I think, like, just knowing that they may get those calls, kind of like what they got with Joel Embiid, like, you're like, okay, I kind of have an advantage. I'm going to come out and play a little, harder than I have been in the past. And so I think that actually comes to their benefit because I don't think, kind of like what you guys were saying earlier in the week, they don't really have the spirit like the Knicks do. But I think because they didn't get those calls at the end, they're coming out with a bit more than they usually do.
Agree.
So I think that's leaning in their favor. But at the end of the day, I just feel like the poor officiating is what it comes down to. Like, I don't know that the Knicks aren't getting all the, bad calls or swings or breaks or whatever. I think it comes down to just the poor officiating.
Well, I don't think we said that they didn't get breaks. We just don't think they're respected. And I think what happened yesterday, if a Knick had done that, there would be no question. I think they would have thrown Brunson out of the game and suspended him.
Well, definitely Mitchell Robinson. Brunson may, but I don't think that the officials were inept in Game 2 in the final 2 minutes. I think they just swallowed their whistle because they did not want to make a call that would decide a game. Now, the fact that, Joel Embiid had 21 trips to the free throw line and the Knicks as a team had 19, that's a little bit of a disparity that's concerning. That's all. And I think it's so easy in sports to always blame umpires and officials. For the most part, they do a good job. They're not perfect. They're not robots. They are going to make mistakes. And they made a really big mistake. And I don't even think if it was a mistake. I think it was a calculated decision not to throw out Embiid.
Yeah, well, especially once it got to Secaucus. Now, you want to tell me in the moment on the court, but when they go back to Secaucus to review that, and everybody in unison says that it's not a 2, that was strategic.
Yes,
in my opinion.
absolutely.
Well, that's a problem, guys.
Of course it is.
That's a real problem to think about. If you are going to literally, I mean, Don, what you're suggesting is almost, collusion would be a bit strong, but like they're making decisions here that are that really impact a series and that are like intentionally wrong.
We have found the note.
Oh, great.
Okay, good.
So we'll get that to Anthony Greek, and he'll have a nice full screen of it before.
Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah.
Anthony Pusick, good. Thank you. Yay! Glad you did that.
And why don't you send a picture of it to me, too, Ant, so I can send it out to my 330,000 followers.
You know what? We have a big note that says that no one knows my name. It's called the sign that says the Michael K. Show in the background every day. You know what I mean?
That's a
Listen,
problem.
wait, you don't have any kick coming. The only guy who has a kick coming is Don.
Well, it doesn't, my kick can represent Don's kick.
No, it's a different. It's an 8-year kick. Don's is a 22-year kick.
True, but if they ever put my name on, they'd have to put Peter's.
Yeah, right. But Don, even Don, by his own admission, is one of the worst negotiators in the history of the media business. So it makes sense that after 8 years, I'd be in the same place he's at after 22.
Now you're taking a shot at Don, who's your biggest supporter.
Yeah, he did.
You see what he did, Don?
I certainly took it as a shot. I just don't know who to negotiate with.
Neither do I, and I'm usually in the loop. It's sad. Peter, how about FanDuel for you? How about that?
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Yale New Haven Health, powering medical breakthroughs.
Flap it, turn it over. There we go.
This grandfather's breakthrough, teaching his granddaughter the art of making pizza, was made possible by another breakthrough. The discovery of a drug that uses a patient's own immune system to successfully treat lung cancer. That's the pioneering research of Yale Cancer Center, delivered through Smilo Cancer Hospital. Together,
Cheers.
We're powering breakthroughs with the greatest of care.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay, and how fast you can get started.
He knows how to work a crowd. Juan Soto is just a flat-out superstar. It's a must-watch.
This guy is unbelievable.
Soto has exceeded all the expectations.
You need some help?
Your tow chains are a little loose. Could spark a wildfire. I could show you how to secure them properly if you'd like.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Anytime. You should check out SmokeyBear.com. They've got a bunch of tips on wildfire prevention.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
New Yorkers have an answer for everything, but in the face of an emergency or disruption, we could all stand to be more prepared. With Notify NYC, you can get hyper-local, verified alerts from the city of New York, telling you about what's happening directly around you and what you should do about it. And maybe give a friend a helping hand. Get ready with Notify NYC. For more information and to sign up, visit nyc.gov/notify or call 311 or download the Notify NYC app.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more.
Hey, so I found a betting system that's really working great for me.
So did I. What's yours?
I set up an hour-a-week time limit on FanDuel. I can also set up wager limits, so I only bet what I can afford, and betting stays fun.
Right.
So what's your system?
What's that?
Your system. What's your system? What is that?
Every bettor has a system. Make FanDuel's responsible gaming tools a key part of yours.
We got paid to be losers with Healthy Wage.
I found Healthy Wage, and I was like, I want to win money and lose weight.
I think Healthy Wage is just a really good platform to make some money and lose some weight.
You set a goal, lose weight, and get a return investment on yourself. I already wanted to lose weight, but with Healthy Wage, I was actually able to be rewarded.
Seeing that big amount of money, I was like, woo. If someone was on the fence about using Healthy Wage, I would just show them my check.
Get paid to get healthy at healthywager.com.
It's one fantastic ride. The turbocharged, tech-inspired Kia Forte.
Best 2 out of 3?
Lease the new 2024 Forte LXS for $189 a month.
New season, new reasons to say yes. Wow. Yes to the ultimate viewing experience.
Aaron Judge crushes one.
Yes to in-game live stats. And earn rewards and win prizes. Get all the Yankees action on the Yes app. Download now.
Sometimes I dream about you falling through the sky. Can hardly believe my own
eyes. Disasters don't take a break for the holidays. With your help, neither does the Red Cross.
Back here for the Michael K. Show. Let's take a look at the Yankees' probable starting pitchers for their series against the Brewers over the weekend, beginning tonight. And tonight, it's Luis Gil who's scheduled to tow it up. Tomorrow night in Game 2, Carlos Rodon is penciled in. And in the series finale on Sunday afternoon, Marcus Stroman gets the nod. Yankees starters have been phenomenal without their ace. And the staff as a whole has gone 17 games now where they have allowed just 3 runs or less. And that's over the first 26 games of the season. The Brewers feature one of the best players in the majors so far in their 26-year-old Venezuelan backstop, William Contreras. He's first in average, on-base percentage, and OPS, and is second to Salvi Perez in slugging. He's also tied for the league lead in doubles amongst catchers, and he's tied for third in home runs as well.
No more. My man
I won early today, though. It was done. I got it early, didn't I?
So the weekend's 2-2-1.
That's right. Well deserved. You could say that was Anthony playing it safe, so you didn't have to pick between me and you, but that was the right call. That was the point of the day.
Thank you.
Good job, Peter.
I really appreciate the truth. Thank you for saying what needed to be said.
This portion of the Michael K. Show on 98.7 ESPN is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of White Plains, proud member of the Pepe Auto Group, the name you've trusted since 1968. 1-800-919-3776. Mark in Carmel. You're on. What's up, Mark?
Hey, good afternoon, Michael and boys. Yeah, I think I have an idea for the way the Knicks can get back at Joel Embiid, similar to the movie The Longest Yard, where they just let the linemen come in and they let the quarterback throw the ball right where it hurts. So the Knicks, right, when you're taking the ball, have the center take the ball out of bounds, and Embiid's going to guard him. And then sometimes when the 5 seconds running out, you throw the ball off the player to get another 5 seconds. Well, you throw the ball at him where he kicked the Knicks players. And it's a legal play. You won't get in trouble.
No, you'll get in trouble if you throw it in his groin on purpose. You're gonna get thrown out of the game. You got to be careful. I mean, in one way, I lean toward what Peter's saying. I think you just have to play physical. You can't play dirty. You can't get away with it. He gets away with it because he's the MVP.
Well, listen, elbow came up a little high, right, Peter? He's defending you, and you move your elbow and happens to hit him on the side of the face. Yeah, you get a foul. If you're letting him know you're there, you can't do anything blatantly obvious. But
you know what I like about it, Don? You come out of the gate and you send in, Jericho Sims or whoever it is, someone you can afford to lose. And you let them hit the aggressive foul early. And by the way, you check them in at a bizarro time in the game, right, Don? So it almost has the feel of one of those hockey games where the second the puck drops, the gloves drop. Like, you check him in 2 minutes into the game. You know what's happening. He has the physical moment. There then will be a confrontation that happens. And it's the beauty of it is, hopefully it motivates your team and gets them pumped up and shows the Sixers that you're not going to lay back. And also it then puts the refs in a tough situation whistle-wise too. They're going to now be looking at the Sixers to retaliate. You're actually putting the refs in a weird spot where they're now going to be looking harder at the Sixers, which they clearly need to be doing. Now, I do think there's risk, like the caller pointed out earlier, that you do risk just motivating Embiid more, hyping up the Philly crowd. You got to put on your big boy pants and be ready to do this. But this is Game 4 in the NBA playoffs in Philadelphia. You got to be ready for it.
Let's go to Peter, not this one. Peter in New Jersey.
Hey, guys. Hey, Mike. Hi, Don. Hi, Peter. How you guys doing? Happy Friday.
Same to you. All well here.
Oh, Mike, I was wondering, last night, how'd your son's baseball game go? And how was the trip to Milwaukee? I know you were just saying yesterday that you wanted to find a place to watch it or something. I'm not too sure if you talked about it today.
No, Charlie came up 3 times with the bases loaded, and he walked each time. And he ended up scoring 2 runs, and he pitched an inning and ended up getting credited with the win. Showed a little bit of a David Wells, Don, and I had to calm him down. The defense behind him was shoddy, and they booted a couple of balls that should have been outs. So he was faced with bases loaded, and the last time that the ball wasn't fielded, he threw his arms up in disgust. And I yelled at him from the side. I said, don't do that. I said, you just get the next guy out. And he got out of it without allowing a run. I told him later, you can't show up your teammates.
That's not the way you do it. Marco had a few hits as well, a couple of RBIs, caught for a little bit. And the thing that I liked, that Nancy misdressed him.
Right.
So he had shirt sleeves. He didn't have any long sleeves underneath. And he did not complain at all. And it got cold.
It was cold where I was, too.
Wow.
Didn't complain.
Let's go.
Great metabolism.
Let's go to Rob in the car. Rob.
Guys, how you doing?
Good. What's up, Robbie?
Michael, so this is actually Madison's dad. I think you know my daughter.
Yes,
Madison.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. How's she doing?
Okay. Good. Very, very good. She'll be home from Penn State on Sunday. So just really quickly, unrelated to sports, and then I had a quick Giant point. You had a young man on earlier this week, Matthew Welling, and this happens to be my best friend's son. And the interesting story, really quickly, is that about 18 years ago, Michael, I called into the show when Matthew was actually at Sloan Kettering getting his bone marrow transplants, and you allowed me to kind of give a shout out to all the fans to send their positive vibes out to him. And interestingly enough, I find out that he was not only was on the show the other day and I watched it, but this is the first time that you actually met him. So it's pretty amazing to me that all these years later you finally met this young man who's going to do unbelievable things. So I just wanted to say that.
That's and for those that don't know, Matthew, thanks to the Garden of Dreams Foundation, Matthew on his own is going to Syracuse Newhouse School, which is great. And when he was on the air, the Garden of Dreams Foundation, they surprised him and gave him $60,000 toward his education, which is great.
Amazing.
So we were happy to be a small part of it.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah. Absolutely. I called him as soon as he got off the show, but yeah, I don't want to take too much of the time about that. But I really enjoyed watching. I was able to get the link to the actual show while I was in my office, and I watched the whole bit. Cool. So that was wonderful that you guys had him on. So I had a Giant point you guys were mentioning a while ago. I was happy with the pick last night, but I'm going into the season not happy with Jones. I'm not sold on Locke, and I'm just wondering, are there any possibilities later, even in the second round or the third round, that they might select somebody that they like, or are we actually going to just go into the season with the two of these guys and just wait for next year?
Well, I mean, there's a rumor that they like Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
So he's from South Carolina, I believe. And so he supposedly has a big arm, but somebody that you could take a flyer on. That's the rumor, but he might be picked before I think they had the 46th pick. So there's some conjecture that the 43rd pick belongs to the Raiders. They could pick him as well. But that's the name I keep hearing, Spencer Rattler.
Yeah. And if they like him, you're probably not going to keep 4 quarterbacks. They seem to like DeVito. I think he deserves a chance to try to compete to be on this team. So you're going to draft somebody that may make the team, may not make the team. Michael, you don't want to do that too high.
Right.
You don't want to take in a second or third round and then you say, all right, goodbye, you didn't make the team. So they do have 3 quarterbacks. You might not love them, but I think that that's kind of high to take a quarterback that you may not make the roster because you're probably not going to keep 4.
No bigger ENN than the one leading into the weekend. None. There's just none. None bigger. So stay tuned for that. Empire Outlets on Staten Island.
The Michael K. Show.
Has been hiding. There's only one So Tick To, so ask for it by name. So clearly you. So Tick To.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
This home-style chicken salad wrap from Subway, this is how you do it. Savory chicken, crisp veggies, all wrapped up.
These wraps are amazing.
People can hear my thoughts. That's a problem. Stay fresh out there with all new wraps from Subway.
At Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, being the Northeast's best cancer center means being the best for you. Pairing the most advanced treatments with the most compassionate treatment. It takes looking at every cancer from every angle. And a care team that looks out for you and everyone you care for. It takes MSK.
Yes Network is now streaming on Fubo. Watch the Yankees and more of your New York teams. streaming live on all your devices. Plus, over 350 top channels. Start watching at FuboTV.com.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
Hey everyone, welcome to ENN.
Ray Rowe. On TV.
It's brought to you by our friends over at Security Dodge. Go see Michelle Scalisian.
Come get some.
Yeah.
I'd like to start off tonight's big ENN by saying good evening to my friend Michael K.
So many people were my loopers.
And I'd like to say good evening to Don.
Awful. Ooh, what's going on there? What are they saying, Don?
I don't know. They probably have some sort of testing to see if the thing that's worked all year is still working. I was so disappointed.
And good evening to Don.
I'm PG-13 in the meeting. I'm XXX on the show.
And good evening to Adam, the caller.
Screw you, Prime.
I don't mind Prime. Prime's easy. As far as these things go, I feel like it's an easy one. I feel like, Michael, the harder one for the Fogies that they struggled with was figuring out the Apple.
Apple.
They didn't know what
Peacock.
to do with the app. Which one?
Peacock.
They would struggle with the Peacock? Yeah. Oh, the Peacock's fantastic. I'm a big fan. Love what they're doing at the Peacock. By the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Cheap Heat podcast is out and available wherever you find podcasts. Put up an episode today, did a little surprise interview with my friend and legend JBL, and it is such a great conversation. If you enjoy pro wrestling, I hope you'll search for Cheap Heat with Peter Rosenberg wherever you find podcasts. Or if you just like hearing, sometimes a couple of Jewish guys talk about, glasses or bagels. All these topics come up.
Well, I'm just curious. A surprise interview, was it a surprise to him or to you? I mean, did you just start asking him questions?
I would think.
Great question by you. No, Don, it's actually a great question. Yes. It was a surprise to everybody. I decided to do it moments before it happened. And when I released the podcast today, again, wherever you find podcasts, just look for that orange and black logo. I didn't list a guest on the podcast.
Oh.
I had it just, it's one of the things that makes podcasts like not fun relative to radio. Like, I like that today, if you were driving around, you had Sirius on, all of a sudden, Howard Stern goes, hey, Joe Biden's here. That's interesting. Podcasts, everything's always listed. So today, I did the episode, and then I said, hey, let's have a surprise guest, and I played his music, and he showed up, and he was there.
So let me ask you about the Howard Stern thing, right?
Go ahead. I helped him book the interview, so I can help.
So he only does live shows Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. How did people know this was happening?
So I can't speak for everybody, but how the hell did I find out? Did I get an alert? No, my Sirius app wasn't even installed. It had been, because I got a new phone. I maybe on Twitter?
Yeah, I just saw Howard was trending this morning. So I clicked to see why, and that's how I found out.
I was also thinking about this, Peter.
Please, go ahead.
The arc of Howard's career, from Butt Bongo Fiesta to now an esteemed interviewer that got President Biden on an interview when the New York Times can't get it. Can you think of any career that has gone on that arc? I can't.
An arc of being such out there, filth to seen as so credible.
Yeah.
Well, probably Imus's career.
That's a good one, Don.
he started out with just being a shock jock, and then by the time he ended, he was just a straight political show.
Yeah, but it is different. It is different because Imus by the end had such a almost like an overly political. I mean, it's different. It's similar. You're right. It's similar but different. You certainly. Let me put it this way to prove your point. I don't even know what Imus the shock jock sounded like, except like the terrible things he said that ended it all. But like I didn't even know of the version of him that was like a real shock jock. I only knew him. I don't even. The truth is, I don't even know enough about him to know what the appeal was in his prime. And then I was a Howard guy, so I wasn't too fond.
But when he started out, he was pretty much like Howard. I think the difference is that's when he decided I'm going to just change it up. I don't think Howard is now going to all of a sudden become the guy that interviews senators and gets into the politics of it. So. But at one point, there was that transition.
I will say, though, it was brilliant booking. Like, I got to give the Biden team credit. You would think that would be a bad idea. It was the perfect place for him. Howard's he did the real interview. If you would listen to Howard Stern, you know what his interviews are like. Howard does a real biographical style interview. And that's what he did with Biden. I didn't hear the whole thing. I don't know if they got in like deep on some issues, but with the parts that I heard, Michael, were just really doing biographical stuff, which was a great place to put an 81-year-old guy who's been struggling in front of a live microphone.
Now, by law, they've got to make the same offer to Trump. Now,
that's dead. That doesn't exist anymore.
That doesn't exist anymore?
No.
Interesting. I did not know that.
I believe that Howard Stern would interview Trump in an eye blink. There's no way that Trump would do it.
I agree. And I don't think Trump would do it. I mean, they obviously had a relationship. He's featured in the book, and Howard's made no bones about how he feels about Trump now. But I still thought that on open, again, maybe because it's serious, I thought you still had to at least extend the invite to the competition.
No, I don't believe that exists anymore. I could be incorrect, but I'm 90% sure.
Why would it change, though? It does seem... Like it
I don't know, but doesn't it seem appropriate with where we are as a country?
Well, but the thing is, it's moot anyway. I mean, I don't think Trump would go on with Howard.
Anthony, did you put a word in to try to get us the president today?
Yeah, I didn't hear back.
Well, jerk. Unfortunate. All right, guys. I don't know if you know the NFL draft happened yesterday. And let's hear from Joe Shane, who is very happy and says the New York Giants always wanted Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, Malik was our guy. He's the guy we targeted. Again, we took him. The players that were on the board, and we took Malik Neighbors.
And Malik Neighbors on ESPN Radio, his thoughts on going to the Giants.
It feels amazing. It feels to finally understand where I'm going, finally get to play some football again. I'm going to focus on my craft, focus on being the best person I can be, best player I can be, best teammate, continue to have a great work ethic, hit the ground running with the Giants organization.
I will say this. I mentioned earlier he has a past, a gun arrest in New Orleans in 2023, just a year ago, guys, February 2023. He was hanging out in New Orleans and was caught with a gun on him. Nothing happened. He ended up turning over the gun. I think the charges were eventually dropped. I don't love that. I will say there was something about his sort of tone and energy that did seem like listen, this is nothing but reading, when you're watching these kids. I liked the vibe I got from him. I don't want to hold him to his worst moment, but with this Giants football team, guys, there just has been a history recently of drafting guys who have these sort of big red flags.
No question, especially recently. Right, even not even bringing up Plexico Burrs, like really recent with draft picks. So you think they'd be a little bit more sensitive to it. But at the same time, Peter, he said the Giant way. There is no way. These organizations can talk all they want. We want it. We want the best character people. They think talent first, and if they think they can manage through the guy's past, and they don't even think about it, good guy, bad guy. They just look at it and say, is anything here that could stop him from playing for us at any point? Like, do you really think these organizations care the quality person you are? They might say it, but if you've got enough talent, you'll be surprised with all these organizations and all sports will look past.
As I get older, and as you get older, you start to maybe get prostate problems. I definitely want his necklace that he had.
Malik Neighbors' necklace.
The one that said leak. I mean, I think that would be applicable.
For what you're always in the mood to do.
Or, what I will eventually do when I'm an older man.
Oh, boy.
Well, now, I don't know where that came from.
It's a jarring.
A huge chain that says leak. Yeah, that's his nickname?
Well, Malik.
Oh, Leak. How does it spelled?
Leek.
So can you not watch the original Bad News Bears because it's Kelly Leak?
No, because Kelly doesn't have the big chain.
Michael's saying, forget it.
If you're going to fight comedy, it's not comedy.
Well, listen, if I got to be exactly.
Now, the Jets, of course, decided to go with
prostate's not funny. That's the problem, Michael. Is just that you can't build the joke around
prostate. Okay.
No.
The Jets, of course, decide to go with Olu Fashanu, the offensive tackle out of Penn State. And here is Olu talking about what he brings to the New York Jets.
As a lineman, I bring a lot of toughness, a lot of grit. For me, most importantly, I feel like one of my best assets is consistency, on the field. Never take any plays off, always give them my all. Great in the pass protection, run blocking, but also just a great locker room guy as well. I'm someone that I'm going to be the same person day in and day out. I'm going to come in, work my tail off, and I'm going to compete. I'm going to compete within the program because, at the end of the day, by competing with everyone, not only you're getting yourself better, but you're getting everyone around you better.
I'll tell you what, though, if he blocks anything like his mom blocked the girlfriend, he's going to be good.
Yeah. So that moment was unfortunate. Olu was sitting there next to his parents, in between his parents, and the girlfriend was on the outside of his mother. And, the second I saw it, before I'd even gotten context of, this is awkward, the second I saw the way the girlfriend's trying to reach across the mother to touch his knee the whole time, I just thought, this is what's led me to my hashtag ban the girlfriends. We don't need the girlfriends at the house. Party with the girlfriend afterwards.
Who was the guy, Peter, was a year ago or 2 years ago? His girlfriend reached for his second phone. It was CeeDee Lamb, and he yanked that phone right out of her hands and gave her a look.
Oh, I wonder if they're still together.
Oh, that's a good question.
All right, let's go to Joe Douglas first. Will Fashanu play left tackle with the Jets?
Well, I think that's what he's had his most success at in high school and college, and obviously been a dominant left tackle at Penn State the last 2 seasons. So yeah, we've got a great room of vets that can take him under their wing and great coaches that can develop him.
Did you see the video, the press conference that Douglas and Saleh had? It looked like a hostage video.
It was really bad. It was you were anti-pumped after that.
Oh my goodness!
Why did it look so bad?
I don't know.
They looked bored. Saleh was staring into space. There was no energy at all.
Well, you know what? I appreciate the honesty because I was actually annoyed when they cut to the Bears war room after their pick to watch them all dapping each other up and hugging as if something happened today. Nothing had happened. They literally made the decision on Caleb Williams a long time ago. It was so performative and stupid. So I didn't see the hostage video from the Jets, but I appreciate it. Let's hear from Aaron Rodgers. He joined Pat McAfee's show last night, and he reacted to the Jets' pick.
Yeah, we already made three moves in the offseason. We're bringing in John to play guard, and Morgan to play tackle, and Tyron to play tackle as well. So it wasn't necessarily the top of the needs, but I know they really loved Olu, and I love what Joe did, moving back and getting a couple more picks.
I think it's still top of your needs, bro. I don't know if you know this. You crumpled to the ground and nearly died on the 4th play. You need as much help as you can get. Tyron Smith has not played a lot. Morgan Moses has. Loved Morgan Moses in Washington. Great player, but he's getting up there too. I think grabbing yourself a marquee offensive tackle to protect your franchise, 41 or 40-year-old quarterback guys, I think that is a need.
And depth's important. We get all caught up in the starters and trying to keep everybody intact. But how many times you watch a football game, Peter? It's there's an offensive lineman down. He's going to miss a couple of plays. And in those couple of plays, if the backup's not any good, your season's over.
I know. It's such a great point. We focus on, do you have 4 good linemen? You need 6 or 7 good linemen. You can't be a team that if you lose one, you're all of a sudden in deep trouble. So Michael Penix was curiously drafted to the Atlanta Falcons, where they just signed Kirk Cousins to a massive $100 million deal. Here's Michael Penix Jr. on coming in behind Kirk Cousins.
I'm blessed with opportunity. I'm gonna take advantage and make the most out of it. For me, coming in, obviously Kirk Cousins, guy who's been in the league, he's been in there for a while. He's played a lot of football. For me, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna learn from him. Try to soak in all the knowledge that I can from him because obviously he's been in the league for a while, like I said, and it's a reason behind that.
Now, I don't have a terrible problem with this, but you knew that Michael Penix was going to be available with the 8th pick months ago. Why did you spend all that money on Kirk Cousins?
Well, the argument that they're going to make is they're bringing in their next guy.
Right.
Like they have Cousins, and now they're bringing in the next guy. I don't think in this case that makes sense because you're bringing in a guy who, assuming he's able to get over this injury, is still in his prime for a few seasons. And you need other pieces here. So why would you waste such a huge pick on your future when you just brought a guy in to, in theory, Don, be your present and future for 3 or 4 years? Don't you want to get him the things you need to be good?
True. But at the same time, they like the quarterback, but they also want to try to win in a very winnable division over the next couple of years. So, if he's the quarterback for the next 2 years, you might get a couple of playoff games out of this. Now, Michael's point earlier, well, if he throws a couple of interceptions on opening day, the fans are all going to cheer for Penix to play. I don't think organizations have to worry about that. You do what you do. You're not going to be influenced by what the fans think anyway. You're not going to bench Cousins because the fans are booing
But
him.
I think it's going to affect Cousins, too.
Well, the only thing I didn't like about it is not making a part of the process. He finds out just before, when they're on the clock. That's not the way to do business. You could have, as you were signing him, say, listen, we have every intention of drafting if Penix is available. We still like you. We still want you. We're giving you a ton of money. You're going to be our quarterback for the foreseeable future. But an added part of it is that you're also going to tutor this quarterback, and they should have just made him part of the process. And if they were afraid that he wouldn't want to be a part of it, well, then you should have gone in a different direction. So that's the lack of communication is where I have a problem.
By the way, I've been told, at least on Twitter, so it has to be true.
Yeah.
I have been told that CeeDee Lamb and the girl from last year are no longer together.
Shocking.
And apparently that same girl had dated Trey Young before she was with CeeDee Lamb.
Now, the question is, did it happen that night? Was it over then?
I got to tell you, I don't want to go into it. This is not the platform for it.
What is the platform, Peter?
But Cheap Heat with Peter Rosenberg, wherever you find podcasts. No, not there either. There's something so weird, though, about the girlfriend-athlete relationship on draft night. I just get the heebie-jeebies. I know that, Don, I know some of them are pure, and I'm sure they're great. But, even in the cases where, they've been together and it's a real relationship, even in those cases, I'm like, be single. Go live your life. What are you doing?
Well, you know what my dad would do? My dad would probably take me aside and say, do you really want your girlfriend there with the cameras?
Really?
Well, yeah, Dad, I like because she's my girlfriend. You have a future with her, because that's going to live forever. And if you think this is just some kind of I don't know what's going, then please, then she's not invited. Now, if you think that there's a future here, because again, this is going to live forever. So do you need people to watch who was that? 5 girlfriends ago. If you're serious or you're engaged or something, by all means, keep it part of the family. But I just think my family would be like, yeah, does she deserve to be? It's like almost being in the family portrait.
It's a great point. If you have to ask, if it's not a given that she would be there because she's part of the family already, she shouldn't be there. Now, I'll say this. Olu's mom was holding hands with the girlfriend prior to the awkwardness. Now, that may be because they're close.
Yeah.
That may be because she was just keeping her at bay. We don't know.
What if it's
she was just keeping her?
A big difference. It's a big gap there.
I don't know. I don't know, but it was. It was a lot. What did you guys think of the long journey the players went on and then walking out on the stage like it's a wrestling match and screaming before their awkward, obligatory big hug with Roger Goodell that makes me throw up in my mouth?
The whole thing's awkward.
I hate, honestly, if you wanted to hype me up to get into like a fight, Don, make me watch Roger Goodell hugs with players for like 15 minutes straight. I'd be ready to pound a stranger on the street.
Then that brings us all the way back to the beginning. So you should be the guy guarding Embiid.
I'm ready. All you got to do is show me about 20 minutes of Goodell highlights before I go out there, and I'll take him out. Now, can I ask you guys a question?
Anything.
Please.
I guess I got the answer. Forget it.
All right.
Well, Damian Lillard was hurt early in the Buck game, and he's returned. So apparently he's okay, but I was just wondering why the game started at 6 o'clock, but I guess they're trying to go for a pure triple header.
Yeah.
So they're going Bucks Pacers on ESPN, followed by Clips Mavs on ESPN, followed by T-Wolves Suns on ESPN.
I don't think they wanted the clash with Yankees Brewers.
Is that what it was?
I think that could be it.
Did you see the man yet? The legend?
Who's that?
You're in Milwaukee.
Oh, Bob Uecker?
That's right.
I have not seen him yet, but I will. I'm stuck in a room here. Bob's not coming by to do radio.
Wait a minute.
John
Walton, the play-by-play voice of the Capitals. I spent time with him. I just said hi to Sam during the last break. I'm out.
Well, you're a man about town, Don. I mean, you're built for this. I'm socially awkward.
Before we wrap up here, by the way, that's true. Jacob, can you get Don's drop of writing the numbers down for the Capitals prepared? Because that needs to be played every time a moment like this happens. But, Michael, that is someone, the Uke, that I would sincerely like to shake his hand and take a picture with.
He's 91.
Oh.
It's still sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
Mr. Belvedere.
I love the man.
I'll write all the numbers down for the Capitals.
Bing bong. How long ago was that, Don?
That was the Gill call. So what was
5
that,
years?
2018?
2019.
19.
A lot of those players have changed, Don.
Oh, listen, the players we were talking about.
Although I'll tell you what, but the key players are still the same numbers, Don. You know what I'm saying? That may be the problem. Take it how you will. That may be the problem with the Capitals. That will do it for ENN on this wonderful Friday evening. It's brought to you by our friends over at Security Dodge. Shop 24/7 at securitydodge.com during their Dodge Power Shot Days Jeep Celebration event and Ram Truck Month.
Now, Don, this is not some jabroni January game. Are you feeling nervous right now? Do you feel like you have to go to the bathroom? There's a playoff game you're doing.
Well, he's not in the Pacific Northwest
before. I did 2 playoff games last year.
And you've done a Stanley Cup game. But I tell you, every time I did a World Series game, I was a little nervous.
I treat all games special. So.
Well, you know what? Sell that somewhere else. A game in December is not the same as this one.
Well, to me, because they're all precious, Michael.
Precious as Chua?
All precious.
I don't have a full-time gig like you.
Michael, did you see the picture I posted, by the way, speaking of Band the Girlfriends, with the old crazy photo of Russell Wilson's ex-girlfriend?
Yes. Oh, that poor young lady.
Not what you want.
I hope you all have a great weekend. There's so much that we're going to talk about on Monday, so many things to dissect and break down and find powder, the whole deal. And in the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again, but first game.
That's a wrap on the show for today and this week. For all of us here on the Michael K. Show, this is Chris Sheeran saying have a great night, enjoy your weekend, and we will see you Monday at 3 o'clock. The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Audi, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Yankees.